and hugs Leia and shit. Oh, everyone's having a great fucking C-3PO's doing the robot like this. R2 is like, we're gonna get married. It's gonna be great. You're my husband. And he's like, yes. And R2 and C-3PO are just kissing and fucking. It's beautiful.
Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
Remember the Force. Rejoice in the triumph. Return of the Jedi. Rated PG.
But now, my friends, chat, we got to go ahead and get to tonight's review. Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, chat. Now, I'm going to go into a lot of background details of this movie, the production, what they did, how they tried to keep costs down, chat. I mean, there's a lot of information to delve into, chat. It's going to be a very thick, girthy, well-endowed, curvaceous review, okay? And I want to give you the best review possible. Alex Banal, YouTube editor extraordinaire, Alex Banal. Hope you're doing very well, good sir. Thank you so much for the host. Spreading the word of the Revenants. There's the words going out there, chat. Hopefully, not only get more Revenants, but also those huckleberries, chat. Indeed, indeed. But you know what? It's crossed by the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy 14. It's free to level 60. Look at that. Look at that. How many levels are there? 500 levels? Jeez, that's a lot of levels. Revenge of the Sand. The Sand's come back, chat. The sand comes back in this one. Tatooine was sitting out in the last movie in Empire. It came back with a fucking vengeance, chat, and it brought a hentai sand vagina. Yes, it did. Deus, thank you so much for resubscribing. Appreciate that. 17 months of incredible support. Thank you, Deus. Welcome. Hope you're doing 80 levels. All right, that's fair. All right. Oh, yeah, here's for so checked out Return. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Harrison Ford. Yeah, I have some thoughts. Oh, Lord. I know, yeah. Skyrim released 10 years ago. It's going to, on November 11th, it will be released 10 years ago now. At least in what, 2011? It was 11/11/11, right? 2011, November 11th. That's what it was. Yeah, I remember. And they've released, what, 15 ports of it since then? Yeah, the latest anniversary port. You can fish in it now. You can fish in Skyrim. Whoa. Well, that's worth the price of $60 goddamn dollars, and people are going to buy it to fish, chat. That's the way it's going to be. We shall see. But thank you guys for all the support. Really do appreciate it. Luke, the Bosnick is the 2 biddies. Last time I was this, so the 6 Star Wars movie was still called Revenge of the Jedi. We'll talk about that. I know some facts. I know some details. The whole Revenge of the Jedi, Return of the Jedi, naming. You might believe it's like, well, it was always Revenge of the Jedi. No. I'll drop some details on you, chat. It's gonna be fun. But first and foremost, chat, the first thing that I gotta do is, for all these reviews, this is what I have to do, chat. I have to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi? Very curious about this, chat. I have the VHS, the unspecialized VHS. I have that too. I got that. I have that VHS as well. I have the special ones. I have the special editions, and I have the OG ones. Santo, I've seen it like 10 times. Vanity Lost Track, Crusaders. Yes! This was the second Star Wars movie I ever saw. I saw Revenge first, and then this movie, then Phantom Menace, then Empire, then Hope, and then Final Attack Clones. Interesting order. We'll also do stuff in order because I'm not a crazy person. Fair enough. Brandon says so many times. Alex Bernal says, heck yeah! Heck yeah, I Santo probably more than that, actually. Oh, more than it does. Yeah, I've definitely seen this more. I was going to pretend I never saw this, but obviously I've seen, which I think most people have. I've seen parts by like Episode 3. Everything I know is memes. Fair enough, Bat Boy, I getcha. See, Matt, weirdly, my earliest memories of Star Wars are Return of the Jedi playing all the time on TNT and shit. Yeah, I remember TNT, Spike, the Sci-Fi Channel. How will have the shield down? We got to give him more time. Indeed. Stranger, you're quoting the movie, quoting Lando. Very nice. Gotta give him more time. Han. He says Han. I keep saying he calls him. Now, Han Solo is called Han Solo, but Billy Williams is like, I refuse to call him Han Solo. He is Han Solo. Luke goes berserk. He fucking loses his mind. If you will not join me, then perhaps she will. Ooh, he fucking freaks. We'll get into it, champ. See, 186 times. Boom. Don even has the exact number. That's a lot of times, man. Very nice, very nice. This is my favorite Star Wars movie. I think a lot of people, this was, like when they're young, this was their favorite Star Wars movie. And we'll go into the reasons why. I definitely own some. I've oddly enough from the special edition VHS tapes too. There you go. Star Wars episode, I imagine 6 is my favorite. I know it's not the best, though. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Spike TV was basically airing Star Wars 24/7. It was like, here it is, Star Wars, and they had commercials for it. Bubba Fett, remember the Bubba Fett commercial? Hilarious. Oh, Bubba Fat. They called him Bubba Fat. It gets unfairly shit on my opinion. We'll talk about that. I remember watching 3 hours of my father opening. Whoa, and to see it like in line. Nice, man, nice. Well, looks like many of you, most of you have seen the movie. Some of you have not. Some of you may have seen parts of it. Some of you are aware of the Star Wars meme culture, which is thick with the Star Wars meme chat. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I talked about this, when I did my Revenge of the Sith review just yesterday, chat. Timestamping this particular review. But, I saw this when they released these in 1997, chat. In the theaters. So this was in preparation for the inevitable release of the prequel trilogy for The Phantom Menace in 1999. So I saw Return of the Jedi, and as a kid, again, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I think for a while when I was a little kid, I think this may have been my favorite. I was always back and forth between Return of the Jedi and Empire. Now, my how I rank the original trilogy, it's very much Empire, New Hope, and Return of the Jedi. Not to say that Return of the Jedi is a bad movie at all in any capacity. I think it's a very good movie. It's a great movie, but it has some issues. It cuts some corners, and you can tell where the franchise. I mean, even though I think by the original movie, it all became about the merchandising, the branding, and all that stuff, selling toys to kids. I mean, this one you could see, and I was like, oh, this is the toys. Yes. I mean, we'll get into the history of it, chat. When the film came out, it was a critical success. It was a commercial success, though. Critically, not to the same degree as something like Empire or New Hope was, but it still did very well. I still think it does a pretty good, damn good job of wrapping up the original trilogy and its various plot lines and subplots, chat. Honestly, this movie, despite some of my issues with it, it delivers some of my favorite Star Wars scenes in the entire Star Wars saga. I'm including, obviously all the Skywalker films, all the other non-Skywalker related movies. I mean, the stuff between Vader, Palpatine, and Luke. I mean, that stuff is that is brilliant. Every time they cut back to that duel, Palpatine's manipulations of Luke, the way he is, you see how he's been able to control Vader, how Vader's been a goddamn dog on his leash for the past 25 years. It's fascinating to me to watch that. I love that the trifecta of battle scenes happening in the movie, chat. It's really cool, and it all makes sense. Richard Marquand, I think he's kind of like the forgotten director of Star Wars, because everyone assumes that George Lucas came back to direct Return of the Jedi. No. He was very much involved in the production. Unlike, in the Empire, where Irving Kershner had definitely a lot of creative control, and he was able to push back on George Lucas in regards to many story decisions, character decisions, that kind of thing, dialogue, rewriting of dialogue. Lucas definitely had a lot more power over Richard Marquand. For those of you who might be unfamiliar with him, he was probably best known for directing a lot of war films, spy thrillers, or spy war movies and things. I think before this film, he had done an Oscar-nominated movie, and after the Return of the Jedi, he was doing a number of films that were nominated for Oscars. He was a talented guy. He was a British filmmaker. Sadly, I think he passed away in the late 80s. I go into details about this on my commentary for the film, which was posted recently. But I think he died of a stroke in the late 80s. He was driving home, and he sensed something was wrong, and he got out of his car and he collapsed, and he was taken to the hospital. And he died. It's sad, but he does a lot of great stuff in this film, chat, and props to the editors of this fucking movie, chat. I want to name them, because that last third of the film where we're cutting between Luke, Vader, and Palpatine in the throne room, the space battle of Lando and Admiral Akbar and Ninyub, chat, and everything that's going down on Endor, the Battle of Endor. That's brilliant. And so big props to Sean Barton, Marcio Lucas, and Dwayne Dunham for doing an excellent job. It's pretty good. I believe that 1987. Thank you, Hamilton Burger. Thank you. Absolutely incredible. The stuff in Jabba's palace, oh my God, it's a smorgasbord of cool alien designs and stuff. It felt like, hey, here, you love the Mos Eisley Canteen, all those weird aliens. Here's more of them. I like that shit. Buy this action figure. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna buy Reese and Bib Fortuna, okay, and the Gamorrean guards. You bet you took us, I will. And Maliki, the Rancor Keeper, who cried, and I felt sad as a child seeing that fat man cry over his baby Rancor. Oh, it broke my fucking heart, shit. I couldn't take it. And, the movie does a lot right. It makes some mistakes. I mean, obviously, infamously, it features the debut of the Ewoks, where originally they were going to be Wookiees. That's what they were in the screenplay. That's what they were in the story originally. But Lucas had a meeting with fucking Kenner Toys, and Kenner's like, hey, listen, instead of, them being like Wookiees and shit, which makes sense. The idea that the Empire's using slave labor, that was the thing. The Empire's using slave labor to build the Death Star too. Second time's the charm, right? It's like, oh, okay, I buy that. And the Wookiees are very strong. They can lift things. They can work for long hours than like normal humans can. Then a staff that you have to like feed regularly and treat with respect and shit. Like, yeah, fuck these goddamn dog monkey people. It's like, it's fine. And so, it's like, oh, that's cool. And then when they fucking rebel and they're tearing the shit out of the Empire, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Especially when Palpatine's like, my best troops are on the surface of Endor. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, your best troops aren't even a match against Wookiees, because who is? Wookiees are one of the strongest races in the galaxy. It makes a lot of sense. But then when you're fucking fighting teddy bears, it's like, your best troops are defeated by fucking teddy bears? It's like, really? And Kenner said, listen, Lucas. And Lord is like, yeah, what? Why don't you change the Wookiees to these little cute cuddly wuddly Ewoks, okay? And we'll make a shit ton of money. He's like, some money? He's like, yeah, I want to make some fucking money. And they go, yeah. He's like, let's do it. And he changed them. And Richard Marquand, the director, he really didn't like the Ewoks, but George Lucas is like, you're going to put in the fucking Ewoks. Lawrence Kasdan was against the Ewoks, but George told him, you're going to put the fucking Ewoks in the script. And that's what happened. So that was a battle that the two of them lost. He had more creative control over this film than he did in Empire, where Irvin Kersh was like, yeah, it's great, George, thanks. Harrison Ford and I are going to rewrite the script. I mean, that's what happened with Empire. It's very interesting. But listen, I have mixed feelings about the Ewoks. Sometimes, like, they are really fucking cute, and there's some cool scenes with them. And I'm like, we'll get to some scenes. I'm like, I feel bad for the Ewoks, And they're fucking scary, and they're little cannibals and shit. Like, they do some, fun things. Newsy Ducky, good to see you, Newsy Ducky. Hope you're doing very well. Lucas, give me my fucking money. We'll talk about it. It's flawed, but I think it still does a really good job in a number of ways, Shat, and I respect it. It's probably, at this point, it's my third favorite Star Wars film. It's my, obviously my third favorite in the original trilogy. I think it works. But yeah, it drops the ball in some regard, but not to the degree. Some people think this movie is bad. I'm like, I just vehemently disagree with that. There is so much stuff which you can appreciate so many good story beats, some really fun performances, some incredible fucking special effects for the time, chat. I mean, Industrial Lights and Magic, they fucking went all out on this goddamn film, and you see it especially in that third act. And for practical effects aficionados, I mean, the stuff in Jabba's palace, again, the puppetry and the suits, they're so cool. So I'm a big fan of this movie, chat. I really enjoy it. But now, my friends, we got to go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details, chat, of Star Wars Episode 6. Return of the Jedi. Oh, I forgot to mention, chat. So originally, when this movie was supposed to come out, it was going to be called Revenge of the Jedi. And there's even trailers, there's T-shirts, there's merchandise that say Revenge of the Jedi. Now, the typical knowledge of it is like, oh, that was the intended name, and George Lucas changed it at the last minute. Actually, that was not the case. Lucas was adamant from the beginning about naming it Return of the Jedi. Like, that's what he wanted it to be, Return of the Jedi. But 20th Century Fox and Lawrence Kasdan put a lot of pressure on him to change it to Revenge of the Jedi because revenge sounds cooler than return. But Lucas is like, but before the movie was released, obviously, he was like, no, the Jedi don't fucking seek revenge. It's ridiculous. Why would Luke seek revenge? That's not the Jedi way. And so inevitably, the studio and Kasdan capitulated to him, and they changed it back to Return of the Jedi, which it makes more sense. Like Revenge of the Sith is like, yeah, the Sith are fucking evil and they're dark and shit and they want to kill people. They're seeking revenge. Makes sense. Jedi ain't gonna seek revenge. All right? Yeah, the Jedi could be dicks, definitely, but they ain't be seeking revenge, chat. And so that makes sense. Oh, another fun fact about the film. So, famously, this movie was filmed under the name, pseudonym chat, Blue Harvest. And that was done for many reasons. One, it was done to keep the press away. Because, they didn't want any information being leaked out at the time. There were some crazy theories. I looked up some crazy fucking theories about this film when it was filming in like 1981, 1982. And I guess 82. Most of the production was in, principal photography was in 82. But people were like speculating at the time that the Emperor was an evil clone of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's like, holy fucking shit! Our whole fan mentality, our guessing has not changed within 40 fucking years. I think that's really, really, really funny. But the film was originally called Blue Harvest, and this again was to keep the press away, to keep fans from sneaking onto the set, from learning information or stealing props. And the other big reason, they say the main reason why it makes sense. I totally get it. The main reason why Lucas and everyone in the studio agreed to call this Blue Harvest using that cover name was so when they went to different locations to shoot, because they go to a lot of different places to shoot this film. They didn't want to let these various locations know that they were filming a Star Wars movie, because then all these places would have upcharged them significantly. Like, oh, you're filming Star Wars, the biggest fucking film franchise at the time in the history of movies in 1983 or 1982. Yeah, no, yeah, you gotta pay fucking triple. And so they called it Blue Harvest, and they're like, oh, it's just some fucking sci-fi film, sure, whatever. And so they got away with it, which I think is pretty fucking funny. Christian is back. Fucking Thunderstorm's knocked my part for 2 minutes. Oh no, something takes another 5 minutes to get my wife. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm happy to have you back, man. I was talking about some more history about the film before I get into the nitty-gritty details. Think of the 5 biddies. And thank you, Lance B. Tankman, for the follow. You're my new Huckleberry. Welcome to the stream. Oh, yeah, some old school scalping, indeed. The Walt Disney, yeah, I guess that's what they did. Yeah. Well, that's called the Lucas method, because I want to save my goddamn money. RD, good to see you. Look at all the fine people in here. King Kodiak, welcome. In case I missed you before, welcome, chat. Just about to get into the nitty-gritty details of Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. But then I always remember like a fun fact, chat. But now, story stuff. Opening credits, chat. Oh, boy, we're picking up after the events of Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, okay? All right, Han Solo was just delivered to Jabba the Hutt by Boba Fett, chat. Did you know that Boba Fett is actually a clone of Jango Fett? Let me tell you, chat, an Attack of the Clones. Before Attack of the Clones, originally explored in the Star Wars Bounty Hunter video game, chat. Jango Fett worked for a guy named Darth Tyrannus, actually secretly Count Dooku, chat, who was the Sith apprentice of one Darth Sidious, who was secretly Papa Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine, chat. See, he sought out Jango because he needed the best soldier in the galaxy so they could start a clone army. Am I right? Okay, you get it? So they got a clone army so then they can use it in secret, chat, to eventually kill the Jedi, create a fake fucking war, all right, fake news, fake war, and then use this war and then army to slaughter the Jedi using Order 66. But Jango said, I will agree to all of this, but I want a baby. And they're like, Jango, you can't reproduce, you're a man. He's like, I understand that, but make a copy of me. And they gave him a copy, unchanged. Just a perfect fucking copy, and we got little baby Boba Fett. We also got Omega, who's female Boba Fett. We got her, Chad, and the rest of the clones, and we got Cody and Rex. Good times. But Boba Fett, thank you. Oh, by the way, thank you to Harmonic Sapien for the follow. You're my new Huckleberry. But that Boba Fett, Chad, he has delivered good old Han Solo, who's been in that carbonite for a year, because this movie actually takes place a year after the events of The Empire Strikes Back. So Luke's been doing a lot of training in the meantime. A New Hope and Empire is the longest time. That's 4 fucking years. And because this is like 24, I think this is like, it's 24 ABY after the Battle of Yavin. Or no, it's 4, I'm sorry, 4 ABY, 4 years after the Battle of Yavin. So it all syncs up, chat. So, at this point, Boba Fett's delivered to Jabba the Hutt, who's a giant fucking slug man on Tatooine, chat. Now, originally when this movie came out, we didn't know what fucking Jabba looked like. We only heard about him. They originally filmed a scene with a big fat guy who was like a human Jabba. But then in the special editions, they're like, well, the course correct. We want to make sure we want to use that scene. And we have a really awkward conversation between Harrison Ford and a really terrible CGI-looking Jabba the Hutt. This is the puppet Jabba the Hutt, and he looks fucking fantastic, chat. I love it. But Boba Fett's delivered him to Jabba the Hutt, and the Luke and Leia and all the Lando, they got to get him back before we get to the rest of the movie, chat. The big plot line, because the Empire, they've built another Death Star, chat, in record fucking time. That last one took 20 fucking years to build, and they did this one in like 4 or 5 years. So that's pretty goddamn good. That's not bad. I mean, close to it. It's not finished yet. It's still unfinished. I like the way the Death Star 2 looks, because you can see like all its energy can go inside it and shit. Like I like the design for the Death Star 2. Like it's that because it's still under construction, and so that's happening. But apparently, Papa Palpatine's not happy with the progress they've made. He wants them to do it even faster, and he's sending good old Vader to go and check on the situation of the Death Star 2. Make sure that Moff Jared, good old Moff Jared, chat. Hey, we got so many new Huckleberries in here. A guy named EJ. Hello, guy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, EJ. You're my new Huckleberry, my new follower. Good to have you here. Hope you're doing very well. We're currently reviewing Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Going through the opening crawl, doing my own fucking version of it. And so, I gotta talk to good old Moff Jared or whatever. I think his name is Moff Gerard. And Jesus Christ, chat, we are the days of Grand Moff Tarkin over. Like, is this the best fucking Moff you can find? Moff Jared? Because he's a punk bitch. I'm sorry, chat. He's a busta. He's what we would call in the streets, chat, a punk busta, because Vader can walk all over him. Not like back in the day, chat, when he got Peter Cushing, where Vader's like, I gotta respect this man. He's a frail old British dude, but he's got some fucking authority, and he knows what he's doing, except when he blew himself up. He did die in New Hope, as we all know. But it's like, wow, we've definitely declined in terms of the Moffs and Grand Moffs that the Empire currently has at disposal, chat. My best troops indeed. And so we cut from the crawl, chat, and we were following a Star Destroyer and an Imperial shuttle coming out of it, chat, going towards the Death Star 2. And again, I really love Jared Gerard. I'm going to call him Jared. His name is now Jared. It is decreed. Change Wikipedia. Tarkin was insane. But he was cool. He was cool about it, man. Yeah, and he was effective and he was competent. I'll always give him that. But his name is, go to Wikipedia, chat. His name is now Marf Jared. No offense to the actor who played Moff Jared, but your name is Jared now. So, we're following this Imperial shuttle flanked by 2 TIE fighters. We see the debut of a lot of new ships in the movie. We'll get to them in a bit. But we see the classic TIE fighter design flying in towards the Death Star 2, which is currently under construction. It lands, chat. We see this massive fucking hangar. It's very glossy, very white, very black. I like it. Ebony and ivory, chat. The best of both worlds. What's not to love? We see good old Moff Jared, and he's like, just looking like a punk busta, Chad, just looking like a punk bitch. And you could tell he's nervous. He's like, oh, Jesus. Oh, fucking God. Oh, God. And because who starts walking down that ramp with all the smoke machines, all the mist machines, Chad? Big Daddy Darth Vader. He's fucking there. He's walking down. And Moff Jared's like, oh, Lord Vader, we weren't expecting you so soon. And Vader's like, listen, motherfucker. Don't talk to me until I talk to you. Why are you delayed of the construction of the Death Star 2? And he's like, Lord Vader, I need more men. And he's like, excuses, okay? Why don't you fucking tell Papa Palpatine when he comes here? And Moff Jared's like, the Emperor is coming here? And he goes, yes. And he is not as forgiving as I am, which is such a great fucking line, because we've seen how forgiving Vader is. He's like... He like chokes people. He kills you. He either force chokes you, literally chokes you, chat. He kills you. One of my favorite lines for Empire, apology accepted, Captain Nita. And he killed Captain Nita, chat. Captain Nita went to apologize. I'm going to do better. And Vader's like, I pardon you from life. He fucking killed Captain Nita, chat. He didn't deserve it, chat. And so Marv Jared at this point is like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God, the Emperor. Which is cool, because the last time we saw the Emperor, he was in a hologram, chat, when it was like a woman-monkey combination. It was literally monkey eyes, and it was like a woman's face, and then some guy talking. This is the first time they actually cast Ian McDiarmid, who I think was in his 30s at this point when the movie was being made. I think he was a very young man. And by the way, when we get to Papa Palpatine, great stuff. That's the best he is in the entire saga. The makeup on him is perfect. Like, I talked about this yesterday on my Revenge of the Sith review. I don't understand why his makeup in Return of the Jedi looks so goddamn good and natural, and yet in Revenge of the Sith, it's so plasticky and rubbery and weird. I just don't get it. He was 32 years old, chat. That is fucking nuts. So put that in perspective, chat. I'm going to turn 30. I'm going to turn 30 on October 1st. And so Ian McDiarmid was only going to be 2 years. He's only 2 years older than me by the time he made Return of the Jedi. Wow. That's cool. That's fucking cool. Wow. Man, he did a great job playing an old fucking man. He did a really good job. He looked great. The makeup, again, that just shows you the makeup job. Who did the makeup on this movie? Oh God, they deserve some fucking respect, chat. Development, filming, music, post-production. I don't know. Let me see the makeup people. Oh God, I wish I had that up there. But whoever they are, they deserved a lot of accolades. They did a fucking fantastic job, chat. Loved it. I absolutely love it on Papa Palpatine. Yeah, she always wondered how Admiral Piet survived so long. He was smart. He kept his fucking mouth shut, and he did what Vader told him to do. And we'll talk about Piet in a bit. He's not in the movie as much as he is in Empire, but he tries, man, Piet tries his best. He tries his best, but he inevitably fucks up. But then, chat, we transition from the Death Star 2. Thank you, sir. Philip Tippett and Stuart Freeborn did the makeup. Hey, fuck. Raise my glass to him. Cheers and salute to you, gentlemen. They made a 32-year-old man look old as fuck, and it looked real. Did a great job. But then, Chad, we come. Thank you for the biddies, Chris, here for the biddies. Yeah, little known fact. Vader's first line was him. I see the plastic surgery as was the sex master. Yeah, I guess so. Thank you for the 3 biddies, Luke the Boss. Then, chat, we transition from the Death Star 2, and we are now with C-3PO and R2-D2 on Tatooine, chat. They are set on delivering a message from Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker to crime lord of Tatooine, Jabba the Hutt, chat. A man, a slug man. We have only heard his name at this point, chat. We do not know what he looks like. And 3PO is kind of like, I'm fucking freaking out. Like, 3PO is concerned because it's just them by themselves. The last time we were on this fucking world, they crash landed on there. They were attacked by small Jawas who enslaved them, and then they were set off on this fucking grand adventure, chat. And so the years have not been exactly kind to 3PO and R2-D2, so I could see why 3PO would be a little nervous at this point. But they're walking up to Jabba's palace. I love the design. It looks like just a 3 big turds in the sand, but it makes sense. It's like this brown industrial steel and stone. It's like, yeah, this is where a fucking fat slug man would live. Yeah, this looks about right. And they walk up to the goddamn door, and, 3PO, he's a little bitch. He goes, he just taps the door with his he's like, no one's home, R2, we can leave. And then R2's like, no, we gotta stay. And then this fucking weird, I don't know if it's a droid. Clearly it's like some type of like door, like instrument or something. And it's like, who the fuck it is? It's a camera, it speaks as well. So it might be a droid. We actually saw this. Like looks like a light bulb on a crane or something just pops out, and it's like blinking. It's like blinking like an eye. It's like a robot eye, and it starts wiki and all that. And 3PO's like, oh my goodness gracious, like he's freaked out by it, and he's like, hi, we're here to deliver a message from the rebellion, our master Luke Skywalker to your lord Jabba the Hutt. And this thing like apparently talks some shit, and 3PO's like, how rude. I guess he said fuck you. Okay, hold on. He goes and it goes back inside. The next time we see this, it's a guard droid. Oh, it's a guard droid. All right, it's horrifying. We see the guard droid again in The Mandalorian season 1, where it is in the home of that Imperial warlord or whatever his name is. I guess, yeah, Imperial governor or something. But then the fucking doors open up, and, R2 just goes in, and it's just like darkness. It's like a dark abyss. And 3PO's like, R2, where are you going? And he's like, I'm going in here, bitch. We have to go in here. He's like, oh, dear. And they go in there, and, they're looking around and shit. And then you see some, like, weird fucking shit in the background. This is the start of, like, all the puppetry, all the animatronics. And I love all this stuff. A lot of people criticize Jabba's palace. They're like, it doesn't fit with the movie. I think it's cool. They're what it is, it's a plot thread left from Empire. And I like that we see the criminal element of the galaxy. Typically we're dealing with these giant fucking, stakes, the war, chat, the Force. And it's kind of cool to see, like, this is where the fucking scumbags, this is the biggest hive of scum and villainy, in the galaxy. So I think that's really neat. But we see this, like, weird fucking spider robot in the background with a brain just walking around and shit. And eventually, R2 bumps into a fat pig man called the Gamorrean guard. It's all drooling and shit. R2's like, whoa. And then 3PO's like, well, I gotta get the fuck out of here. 3PO's like, I gotta go. But then another fucking Gamorrean guard's there, and they got these big, stupid axes. And the Gamorreans are like a pig species. They're very dumb. You look at him like, it's a dumb fucking pig. I know that. And so they try to get out of there. But then Bib Fortuna, a skinny Bib Fortuna, we recently saw Bib Fortuna in the Mandalorian chat, Mandalorian season 2, where he got very fat. Although that's, that makes sense for Twi'lek culture. Apparently males, it's attractive. The males gain a lot of weight because that's like a status thing. It's like, oh, it shows you have great wealth and authority and power, and therefore you got big old belly and man boobies. And women are like, oh my God, it's so hot. So apparently the TRILOGYs have a fat fetish. They got a fat theater fetish, chat. And Bib Fortuna's there, and he looks really gross, just pale. He's got like sharp teeth. He's got this weird, gross chin with these little, I don't know what they are, but like these fleshy tendrils. Looks like 2 penises on his like double chin. It's like, oh my God, I don't like looking at you. And 3PO's like, oh Jesus, you're a nightmare. Hi, we're here to deliver a message to Jabba. It's like, he's like, oh God, he just looks like he smells. It looks like he's got head hentai. It looks like he smells. It looks like he does not brush his teeth. And like, and he just says some nonsense, and the Gormons, and they push, 3PO and R2 into Jabba's domain. And this is where we first see Jabba's throne room. And I love the design for Jabba the Hutt. He's so fucking gross because we first see him, and he's a giant fat. You can look up like what they were thinking about for the designs of Jabba, like these little like clay figurines and things. You can see them all online. They all look really cool and gross. They just sell them like, no, he's a giant fat slug, and he's the biggest fat slug in the galaxy. And you just see him there. And apparently, Chad, it took like, I'm trying to remember right, if it was 8 or 10 puppeteers to operate Jabba the Hutt. Well, you could tell because the tail has a separate puppeteer. Like all things are going on his head. He has his big fucking orange eyes, and I like that one eye is kind of like one lid is like a little bit heavier on the eye, so he looks like really derpy when he's looking at you. He's always sleepy. He's constantly like he's got like cum like all over his mouth. There are scenes when it's like, what the fuck were you doing before? People are talking to you, Jabba, because I know he's eating raw frogs and shit, and, he's smoking on a hookah and everything. He's constantly coughing up bile and spittle and slime. But there's once 8 people, goddamn, 8 people. Incredible work. But there's like one scene when eventually Leia's found out to be the bounty hunter Bosch, and it was Jabba knew all the whole time, but Jabba he has like a shit ton of jism on his face, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on there? But here Jabba, he's smoking a hookah, he's eating frogs and shit, and we see again all sorts of weird aliens. We see an elephant man, we see a goat man named Reese. Yeah, Boba Fett's like, hi, I'm Boba Fett, I'm hanging out, everybody. We see some fucking dancers, we see Ula the green tree. Like I love all this shit. This is really, really cool to me. But we see, there's like a weird lizard dog that's and T-Bo was like, oh fuck, this is the worst. T-Bo cannot operate here. He's terrified. Eventually they go and they're brought before Jabba the Hutt, and he's like, and Bib Fortuna's like, Master, he's like, he's like, oh God. He's like, they're the droids from the rebellion, from Luke Skywalker. And 3PO's like, play the fucking message, play the goddamn message. And R2 activates his hologram, and we see Jedi Knight, or I guess technically not Jedi Knight, but he might as well be, chat. We see Jedi Luke Skywalker, clothed completely in black, and he's like, hey, Jabba, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm a representative of the rebellion. I'm just, here to talk to you about Han Solo. I know he's recently delivered to you by one Boba Fett, and I would really like him back. We would appreciate that. He is a valued member of our team to fight against the Empire. And Jabba's like, and the whole time. And he's like, listen, I want to present you with a gift, obviously, not to leave you with nothing. I just want to take from the great Lord Jabba the Hutt of Tatooine, my home, by the way. I grew up there, okay? You did great things for the citizens of Tatooine. Anyway, I want to present you with a gift. These 2 droids. And 3PO was like, the fuck did he just say? No, you got the message wrong. What are you talking about? Us. And Jabba's like, I need it. And Jabba's like, oh God. He's speaking some sprek. And he's like, great, I need a fucking protocol droid. I don't really have much use for an astromech unit, but yeah, I'll take him. But I ain't giving fucking Han Solo back. He's my favorite decoration. And we cut there, and Han's like, I'm still here. And he's been hanging up on a fucking wall for over a year. And Boba Fett's like, yeah, I delivered him. Boba Fett, by the way, he's a big fucking flirt. Boba Fett is flirting with all the alien dancers later in the scene. Later on, I think with when Bosch gets there. Eventually, when Bosch gets there, which is very, very fun. But he's like, yeah, I'm a fucking all the alien ladies. That's what he does, man. Boba Fett's a player in this. Very interesting. Got a bit of an alien fetish. Jabba's like, yeah, put some fucking restraining bolts on them and take them down to the droid torture room. Now, you gotta be a real evil son of a bitch, chat, to have a droid torture room, and Jabba has one. And it's kind of comedic because they're going down to the prison area, and there's like 3 people like, this is a fucking nightmare. And you have this one guy go, like he has this gross hand, it's covered in muck, clearly covered in his own shit and urine, chat, and other bodily fluids. And then this tentacle like tries to wrap around 3PO, and it's like, oh, going like hits the tentacle, and the hentai retreats back into its cell. We then enter the droid torture room, where there's this little gonk droid, which basically this battery of feet that's having its feet literally burned. He's like, ah, screaming like, why are you hurting these things? And they're presented to the torture, I guess it's like the head torture droid there, which I think is like EV9, I want to say. I forget what his name is. But this droid is actually voiced by Richard Marquand, Chad, the director. And he's like, protocol droid, perfect. We'll put a restraining bolt on you. How many dialects do you speak? He's like, well, I speak 6 billion forms. Fantastic, great. Shut the fuck up. Put it on him and get him back up there. And, you know, the R2's like, hey, fuck you. That's my husband you're talking to, man. And he's like, oh, you're a feisty little one. Don't worry. We'll be able to treat droids respect down here. You're going to learn some respect. And we hear like a droid go, ah! So we don't see R2 for a good long while, chat. What happened to poor little R2-D2, chat? I don't know. Well, I do know, but we'll find out later on, chat. We then cut you, and we get to the Max Rebo Band. Time for a song and dance number. So in the original film, you had Sly Snoodles, who's basically like a jazz singer, or in this case, Chad, a jizz singer, because jazz music in Star Wars is called jizz. I'm not joking. J-I-Z-Z, jizz, chat. And you had Sly Snoodles in the Max Rebo Band, and it was just all puppets originally. It was all puppets. But for the special editions, Lucas changed it and where he put in some CGI characters, and wow, these have not aged very well, Chad. You know, it's like, yep, that does not fit with all the other puppets and animatronics and people in costumes. It stands out distinctly. And fucking Sly Snoodles doing that. And this guy's just fucking going off and shit. It's a music video. It's a CGI music video. The original was fine. It was totally fine. You have Weak Ways playing on the fucking drums. That looks cool. You have Max Rebo pressing losing his little jazzy, keyboard. It looks good. Boba Fett's just like, oh my God, all the alien bazungas. He's enjoying himself. But this CGI just feels so weird and out of place. Like a lot of the scenes in, mostly, it's funny, it's all Tatooine. Like, because when we cut to like, remember New Hope, when like Ben Kenobi and Luke go to Tatooine like to Mos Eisley the first time, and they have that fucking like Ronto and the Jawas and Banthas, and she's like, you don't need any of this. You can take all this out. It doesn't fit. It's weird. And it has not aged well, chat, compared to the practical effects, which have aged fairly well. So they're all fucking dancing. And Ula, you got apparently Jabba's two favorite dancers. You have Ula, who is this green Twi'lek, and you also have this human dog hybrid woman who she's a very fat lady, but she has like 6 breasts, and so she has like a bra, she has a brassiere for like for each set of breasts, and she's all jiggling. It's like, hey, you're thick, good for you, honey. The only thing hot, right? Thank you for the Doge bit. He's no name woman, and so they're dancing. But Jabba, he's looking at Ula, and Jabba is getting horny, chat. He's like, and Ula's like, oh my God, not again. So she's fucking freaking out. So this is weird. Apparently, a lot of Hutts look down upon Jabba and his infatuation for the two-leggeds, which sounds like a racial slur when I say it out loud. But for like, races who have 2 legs like that. Apparently, it's acknowledged that Jabba just has a fetish for these people. How he, has sex with them, I don't know. But apparently Ula knows, and she's like, fuck this, no, absolutely not. He's like, ah. And she's like, no, fucking God. And, he's getting frustrated, Chad, as the music's just increasing, getting louder. And eventually he's like, fuck this. Fuck you, bitch. If you're not gonna suck it, then you're gonna die. And apparently she's like, I'd rather die than suck whatever that was underneath you. And he hits the fucking button on his throne, chat. Thank you so much for those activities. It looks like both songs. I don't know why some hate Jedi Rock. No, the songs are fine. I don't hate the songs at all. Matter of fact, it's just the CGI. I think it's too much. It doesn't fit. I don't hate either song. I think they work. But fucking, Jabba freaks out. He hits the button on his fucking throne, and she falls into this pit. This floor gives way, and she falls in this pit. Yeah, we don't know what's down there. Everyone knows there. Everyone's like, oh, fuck yeah. Woo! Because everyone's excited for some reason. Ula is terrified at this point. And I feel really bad for Ula. She did not deserve this at all. And it's like, oh, God. I always felt bad for her as a kid, and I still do. But then everyone crowd around the pit, and they're all watching. And Ula, she's like, oh, fucking Jesus, God. And then the door, there's this giant fucking metal door that's down there in the pit. It looks like a cavern, like a cave. And it starts lifting up, and we just see something in the darkness, and it goes, she's like, ah! And whatever it is, eats her. It fucking eats her alive, Chad. It's like that poor goddamn Boba, not the alien. She's so hot. Just jerking all the time. Boba, take it easy. Boba's very horny when he was a young man, Chad, clearly. But everyone's distracted from this, chat, because they hear some roughhousing going up near the stairs, the entryway to Jabba's throne room. More about one thing with the videos. Welcome to stream. Up close shots of Ula made for the special edition. 30 years later, she aged well. Oh, yeah. I remember that. That's right. No, she did. She absolutely did. Thank you for the 20 videos. 20 videos, Arbo. One, appreciate that. And welcome to stream. Well, there's some shenanigans going up by the stairwell, and this one fucking guy, he's like, and he gets fucking knocked down. He's like, ugh. And we see Chewbacca, Chad, the co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon, but he's in chains, and he's being pulled by this widow bounty hunter named Bosch. And I'm like, how the fuck did this little guy capture Chewbacca? There's more to it. But this Bosch guy, which I always like the look of Bosch. Very, very, very cool. I like the helmet. It sounds like that. And it presents himself or herself in front of Jabba. And Jabba's like, who the fuck is this guy? I mean, I know Chewbacca. And he's like, protocol droid. And fucking 3PO sounds, oh, yes, oh, my goodness, what is it, Lord Jabba? And he's like, talk to Bosch. And he's like, oh, thank you for bringing us, the Chewbacca, the Wookiee co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon. And Jabba's like, listen, really appreciate that. Bosch, is it? Cool, I never heard of you before. I'll give you 25,000 credits for him. Pretty good deal, right, guys? And Bosch is like, yeah, the bounty on Chewbacca is 50,000 credits. I know that for a fact. I have the fucking thing right here. And, 3PO's like, Bosch is expecting 50,000 credits. And Jabba's like, get the fuck away from me. He fucking flips out. He's like, oh my. He falls down and shit. And Jabba's like, don't you fucking speak to me that way. I ain't offering you a single cent more. I'm giving you 25,000. That's a goddamn good deal. And 3PO's like, oh, fucking Jesus. He stands up. He's like, your Lord Jabba says 25, that's it. No higher. And Bosch is like, all right. By the way, Boba Fett is flirting with all the alien women in the back. I'm not joking. He's like touching the chins of this girl's like, hey, girl, I'll see you later. I'll see you in my room later. Nice. And he's watching this. He's watching like, oh, his bounty's got some balls. Let's see what happens. And Bosch is like, I didn't want to do this, but okay. And he fucking pulls out a thermal detonator. He says a thermal detonator, which I always thought like a thermal detonator was like the most powerful device in Star Wars as a kid. It's just a grenade. It's just a regular grenade. That's what a thermal detonator, but it sounds horrifying. A thermal detonator. It's like the whole fucking palace is going to explode. Because that's what's been displayed in like in other like literature, in Star Wars literature. It's because they were always inconsistent with it. Like in expanded universe novels and legend material, thermal detonator was like, oh, that's a fucking, that'll take out an entire building. But now I'm like, nah, it's just a grenade. So who knows? Who knows what it is? But people are scared because even Boba Fett's like, whoa, holy shit! Like he pulls out his E-33 blaster rifle, Chad, and he's ready. He's ready to shoot from the hip. He's ready to take down Bosch at this point. Everyone's scared. Everyone's hiding. Salacious Crumb, who's this? I forgot to mention, Jabba has a court jester named Salacious Crumb. He's a Khazorkian lizard monkey. I don't know what that Khazorkian, whatever. He's a lizard monkey man. And all he does is he sits in like Jabba's girth, like kind of, I don't know what it is, like he just sits like in his tail fat and constantly goes, and every time someone fucking dies or Jabba says something like mildly funny, most of the time not funny, he's just there to like, you tell him, and all that shit. But even he fucking flips out. He's like, oh, geez, and he's covering himself up. But Jabba's the one. Jabba's like, oh. And he's laughing. And he's like, you know what, Bosch? You're this bounty hunter right here. Hey, Boba, I'll tell you something. This bounty hunter over here, this guy's my kind of slime. I like this guy. I like you, man. All right, I'll up the bounty. 35,000 credits. And at this point, 3PO's like, okay, it's not exactly 50, but maybe he'll take it. 3PO's like, Lord Jabba said he'll give you 35,000 credits, and he said, I listen, this is just me saying this, I really do hope you take it. And Bosch was like, okay, all right, I'll take it. Turns out they're there, and everyone's like, everything's great. Thank you guys for the biddy. Hi, everyone. Hope you are having a good day. I'm having a good day, Jason. Hope you're having a good day, too. But he turns out there, everyone's like, yeah, ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba. Music starts and shit. Everyone's having a good time. You know, the fucking Bosch takes care of his money. And then Boba Fett, like, Bosch is just kind of hanging out and shit. And Boba Fett from across the room just goes, like a head nod, like a respect, man. Fucking respect. It's like, that's kind of cool. Boba Fett doesn't show respect for a lot of people. He's like, but that was a fucking gangsta. That was a baller move. Bosch ain't no punk busted, Chad. Pretty goddamn good. Pretty good. Later, after that chat, it's nighttime in Jabba's palace. Apparently, everyone sleeps in the throne room just on top of each other. I want to say there was like a disgusting Hutt, you know, Jabba palace orgy, and everyone just fucked each other. I feel like everyone in this room, everyone in Jabba's palace fucks each other. It just kind of, I get that vibe, and that's like, that's not wrong with that, but it's just like, it's just disgusting. Just dirty. But we see Bosch is sneaking down those steps. It accidentally hits her helmet on some wind chimes and shit. But she goes down there, and she apparently is very interested in Han Solo, the carbonite decoration in Jabba's palace. And she goes over there, and she starts beep, bop, boo, pressing some buttons. And the thing starts activating, and the carbonite starts to dissolve away, revealing Han Solo, chat. And he's like, he falls out of it, and he's very sweaty, chat. He's got the worst case of swamp ass probably ever, and he's just like, he's freaking out, and, you know, Bosch grabs him, is like cradling him in her arms, and he's like, where am I? He's like, you're in Jabba's palace. And he's like, who are you? And he's like, shh. And he's like, I can't see, because he's blind right now. He's blind. And he's like, it's a temporary effect of the carbon freeze. And he's like, and who are you? And then Bosch takes off her helmet, and it's Princess Leia Organa, chat. Leia Organa. She says, someone who loves you. He's like, Leia. And they start open mouth kissing, chat. It's hot. It's hot. She's like, she ignores Han's swamp ass and just general moistness because she wants to lay a big wet one. It's gonna get even more moist in a second, chat. And he's like, all right, let's get out of here. She's like, okay, I'm gonna get you out of here. We're gonna go. But then we all hear, chat, ho 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 ho. Oh. And Han's like, I know that life. And behind the curtain is Jabba and everybody else. And apparently Jabba knew this was going to happen. He knew Bosch was Leia Organa. And he's like, yeah, you thought it was a fucking dumb fat slug man. No, man, I know who you fucking are. Okay? And Han, he's just like, listen, Jabba, we can work out something. And Jabba's like, no. We had 4 fucking years to work out something, my boy, all right? You never paid me, all right? And so I'm going to get what I want. And he's like, take him to the fucking prisons. And so they take, you know, to the dungeon. And Han's like, no, don't be a fool. And, you know, they take Han down to the prison area. But then Jabba's like, ooh, you know, I'm down a slave dancer girl. You know, hey, Leia, you're looking pretty hot. Looking pretty thick. Come here, girl. And so these guards just drag Leia to Jabba. And he's like, we have really powerful friends. And he's like, I'm sure you do. And he has like this disgusting tongue. And it just looks like all on his bottom lip. And just like his like chin, just jism. And it's like, what the hell? I'll pay you triple, quadruple. Don't be a fool. But I don't know what Jabba was doing behind that curtain. But apparently he might have been sucking someone off. I don't know. But After that, Chad, things are not going well. We then cut to the prison cell that Han Solo's being put in, and he's all like, he's all freaking out. It's very wet, very moist down there. And he hears this growling. He's like, who's there? Who's there? And who is that? Who is that person growling? It's Chewbacca. It's Chewbacca. And he's like, Chewie. And Chewie's like, ah. And he like grabs Han. He's hugging him. He's like, I'm all right. What's going on? What's going on? And he's like, Leia, why did Leia here? Now she's captured and shit. And Chewie's like, oh, don't worry about it. He's like, don't. And he's saying that Luke has a plan. He's like, Luke, what are you talking about? He's just a kid, constantly getting in trouble. And Chewbacca's like, nah, man, he's like a fucking Jedi Knight. Like, I knew a Jedi Knight. His name was Master Yoda. I probably should have mentioned that to Luke because he's been training with him the whole time, but I've never brought it up for some reason. Anyway, yeah, Luke's a Jedi. And fucking Han's like a Jedi, more like he has delusions of grandeur. And then Chewie just like holds on to Han and starts petting him like a puppy. And he's like, it's okay, buddy. I'm all right. I think it's fucking adorable. He's like, I love you. You're my human and I love you. It's so cute. After that, we then cut to outside of Jabba's palace where we see like, fucking like Jabba like has these frog monsters that eat like vermin and shit. That's out there. But then we cut to the door. We have a wide shot. And this fucking wide shot's so fucking cool, chat. Cut to the wide shot of the main door of Jabba's palace opening. It's very far. When you see this hooded figure in these black robes, and he just starts walking in. He starts walking in, and these Gamorrean guards suddenly like put their axes like blocking his path, and this guy just goes whoop, whoop, uses his hands and starts choking the shit out of them, just like boop, boop. It's like, whoa, is this Luke? Is this Luke Skywalker? It's like, what the fuck is going on here? And all of a sudden, everyone's like, yeah, everyone's having a good time in Jabba's palace. Like Leia, she's in her slave outfit, the brown and gold brassiere and everything, just like laying out there like that. And all of a sudden, they hear this commotion coming down, and everyone's like, holy fucking shit, because they have seen something they have not seen in probably 2 decades, Chad, nearly a decade, 2 decades and a half, and they see a goddamn Jedi walk in the Jabba's palace. And at this point, fucking, Bib Fortuna's like, I can't let you see Jabba, and he's like, you will take me to Jabba now, using that fucking Jedi mind trick on Bib Fortuna, and Bib Fortuna's like, okay, and so he takes him the Jabba, and he's like, my Lord Jabba, I present you Luke Skywalker. And Jabba's like, I fucking told you I am not giving, your droids back. I'm not giving this piece of meat right here, this piece of meat, or that talking dog, or your Han Solo back to you, okay? And Luke's like, Jabba, listen, I'm going to be very blunt. And this is a different Luke. This is not the starry-eyed, naive farm kid in A New Hope. This isn't the angry, frustrated rebel fighter that we see in The Empire Strikes Back. This is the cool, calm, and calculated Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, chat. Because he says, Jabba, and he takes off his fucking hood, chat, and Mark Hamill's rocking some 70s style hair. It's the worst hair that Luke has in the trilogy, chat, but it doesn't matter because he's so cool here. And he's like, you will give Leia, Han, the Wookiees, and the droids to me, and I'm going to let you live. Jabba, I'm going to do you a favor. You give me everything I want, and I won't kill you. And Jabba's like... You got some fucking balls, kid. You got some fucking balls. He's like, all right. Want to mess with me? Okay, how about this? How about I fucking kill you? And Luke he's like, whoop. And Luke just goes for this. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, chat. Lando is also in Jabba's palace as well. He's undercover, and he's been there the whole time, keeping tabs on everybody, chat. He was there when R2-D2 and C-3PO are being taken away, but Lando has been the whole time. He's been fucking observing, man, which I don't know how Jabba doesn't know who fucking Lando is, but I guess he doesn't know because Lando just keeps that fucking helmet on. But Lando's just in the background going, oh, jeez. Oh boy, this deal's getting worse all the time. It's not good. But he's playing it very fucking cool, very close to the chest. Luke's like, all right, fuck this. He force pulls a guy's blaster towards him, and he's about to shoot Jabba, and Jabba's like, fuck! Jabba freaks out. He's like, holy fucking shit. He moved it with his mind. And then you get this Gamorrean guard who's trying to fight him with the gun with Luke, and Jabba's like, all right, fuck this. He hits the fucking button on his throne, his chair, chat. and on his throne, and both Luke and the pig man, the Gamorrean guard, fall into the Rancor pit. And fucking, Jabba's like, yeah, let's fucking watch a show. Woo! And they all slide down there. They're all in there. And, Luke, he's like, he picks himself up. The Gamorrean guard tries to lift itself, but it's too fucking fat. These Gamorrean guards are useless. But they then stare at the big fucking door, and it starts opening up, chat. And we are revealed to the Rancor, chat, which is one of the coolest monsters in Star Wars, chat. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like this reptilian, amphibious looking thing. It's all brown, has these long arms and claws. It has this mouth, like it has this big fucking head. It's got like these elephant legs. And it's like, Rah! And the Gamorrean guard's like, holy fucking shit. It freaks out. And it's trying to, get its fat ass up I don't know why. It's just like up the slide, which is covered with a gate right now. It's locked because of a gate. It's trying to get up there. And the Rancor is like, bring your fat ass here. And it just grabs him. And the Gamorrean guard's like, wee! And it starts munching down the Gamorrean guard. Luke's like, oh boy, this is gonna be a thing. This is gonna be kind of hard. And so the Rancor sees Luke Skywalker. He's like, I'm gonna come and eat you too. And it's like waddling over towards him, chat. And Luke's like, ah, shit, I gotta think of something here. This is hard. And Luke, he grabs a fucking bone. He grabs a goddamn bone, and the Rancor just grabs him, and is like, Luke's like, fucking shit, like he's about to eat him, and Luke, like, he doesn't have his lightsaber, chat, and what he does is he puts the fucking bone inside the Rancor's mouth, so it's like, I can't bite down, I can't chew on him, and it drops him, and then Luke, he hides in like a little, like, I'm just like, well, this is my new home now. If I was Luke, like, he hides in this little alcove in the cave, like underneath this big rock, this big boulder. He's just like, shit. I'm like, if I was, I'd be like, well, this is where I live until it finally scrapes me out and eats me. And this thing, it snaps the fuck. By the way, the puppetry here is puppy. It's literally a giant puppy. That's what it is. That's what we'll find out. The Rancor snaps the bone. I just love how this thing moves, and the sound design is so cool. How it's like breathing. That's how it breathes, and like you could see, it's like its head like go in, like, it becomes depressed. It goes concave when it breathes in, like right there. It's really cool. But it starts scraping at Luke, trying to get him out under the little alcove there. And Luke just takes a big fucking rock and just smashes the Rancor's finger, and the Rancor goes, Rah! And Luke, he sees that between the Rancor's legs is another exit, and he runs over there. He runs over there, but then he presses to open the door and opens up. But there's another locked kind of like gate, and you have these guys on the other line go, and they're like hitting him and shit, and like he's like, god damn it, I can't get out of here. And the Rancor's recovering and it's coming towards him, but he sees that there's a switch for the main gate door that, revealed the Rancor, chat. He's like, oh shit, I know what to do. And he picks up a fucking skull, chat, and he times it right when the Rancor just dips his head underneath the gated door, the heavy gate door. He fucking throws the skull, hits the button, boom, comes right down on the neck, on the Rancor's neck, chat. Just boom, just probably severed the fucking spinal cord, and this thing's just done. It goes, and it dies, and these guys, and Jabba's like, oh, everyone's like, holy fucking shit, he killed the Rancor. No one can believe it. Everyone's like so surprised. And so at this point, fucking Jabba's like, oh, bring me Jedi. He's very pissed at this point. They open Luke is like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. But the door opens, and these guys rush in and they grab Luke, and then we see Malachi, the Rancor keeper, push all these guys aside, and he's basically the Rancor's mom, the Rancor's dad, and he's like, oh, my baby, and he starts crying, and then there's like this Wake Way or Nikto guy goes, itaba, like calming him down, like, it's okay, man, I know it hurts, I know. It's like, I thought it was adorable. I'm like, I kind of feel sorry for the Rancor and the Rancor keeper, Malachi. I thought that was great. That Rancor was just one day away from escaping Jabba's palace. That's true. In Jabba's, so I have read Tales from Jabba's Palace and Tales of the Bounty Hunters. In that tale, like, Malachi was actually trying to get the Rancor and him, like, out of Jabba's palace. And that was the last day that they were going to leave that day. But then fucking Luke Skywalker shows up and kills him. And he's very, very sad. But it's okay, though, chat. Malachi opens a restaurant on Tatooine with a number of other denizens of Jabba's palace, and it becomes one of the most successful restaurants on the planet. So they're living the high life afterwards, chat. So don't you worry. At this point, Jabba's like, bring me Luke Skywalker, bring me Han Solo, and bring me that goddamn Wookiee, okay? And, of course, you know, they're being led towards Jabba's throne room again, and that's where Luke and Han meet up. But Han's fucking blind, doesn't know what the hell's going on half the time. And Luke's like, Han, he's like, Luke. And Han's like, Luke, how are things? What's going on? And Luke's like, the same as usual. And Han's like, that bad, huh? Which is a great fucking line. Listen, there is clunky dialogue in Star Wars, but there's some fucking zingers in this movie. That bad, huh? And they're brought before Jabba, and 3PO is basically translating, and he's like, okay, listen, guys, Jabba's really fucking pissed off. You killed his favorite monster. You destroyed his favorite, you know, wall decoration, and he's decided to send you to the Great Pit of Carkoon in the Dune Sea. And Han's like, well, that doesn't sound too bad. And it's like where the mighty Sarlacc resides, which once it vores you, it will then digest you for 1,000 years. And Han's like, oh. And so then we cut, and we're outside, chat, and we're seeing Jabba's sail barge over the Dune Sea, chat, of Tatooine, which is covered. There's no fucking water there. It's just sand. A shit ton of sand. Anakin would lose his fucking mind there. But they're fucking doing it. Everyone's having a great fucking time on Jabba's sail barge. Everyone's drinking. Jabba's like, bleh. He's like, he grabs Leia, and he's like, soon you'll suck. And she's like, I ain't sucking nothing, you fat fuck, you fat fuck slug. He's like, whatever. And then, you know, 3PO's just like, this is the worst day of my life. And he bumps into someone, he apologizes, and he realizes it's R2-D2 who's been serving drinks. And that's what they got me serving drinks. 3PO's like, I'm so sorry, but R2, this is the worst thing ever. I mean, what are we gonna do? And R2's like, don't worry, okay, don't worry. Husbando, it's all right. Luke has everything figured out. He's like, Luke, what are you talking about? He's a Jedi. What do you mean he's a Jedi? I don't know what the hell that is. He's like, Archer's like, don't worry, baby, I got you. And so then we cut outside. We're on some skiffs that were flying next to Jabba's sail barge, where they have Luke. We have Han, and Han's like, I think my vision's coming back. I kind of see a big black dot and a big white dot. And Luke's like, don't worry about it. Just stand close to Lando and Chewie. So acknowledging. And I love that Lando's like, oh, great. Lando's here? You mean the guy that betrayed us in the last movie? Oh, fantastic. Sounds good. And he's like, listen, Han, listen, I know this planet, all right? I grew up here. And Han's like, you're going to die here, you know. Convenient. Which is another great line. It's another fucking great line. And eventually they all get to the Great Pit of Carkoon, which is a Sarlacc. Now, originally, it was just literally a really gross-looking sand vagina with tentacles and, like, little spikes. But in the special editions, they added, like, this CGI Audrey 2, like, feed me, Jabba, feed me. And it does not age well. It does, like, yeah, it doesn't look as good. Like, I like the idea. I think a Sarlacc is a cool concept and, like, you know, just a creature and shit. It's terrifying, right? But, yeah, that Audrey 2 mouth has not aged well since they originally debuted it in 97. I know they probably cleaned it up in like the 2004 release and stuff, but it's like, yeah, it just, again, it's the CGI creatures, like it doesn't really fit. It's not as bad as Slice Noodles and some of the other people early in the movie, but it's like, yeah, it doesn't really match. It doesn't really match, especially after the Rancor segment, which was so cool. But they're all there, and Jabba's like, oh, fucking open all the windows. I want to see this. And, you know, R2 it's like leaves suddenly because 3PO's like talking to R2, but R2's just gone. We sees R2 like going up the sail barge to the roof. And he's like, okay, what the hell is that about? And Jabba's like, fucking bring Luke Skywalker to the plank because he's gonna literally walk the plank. And you know, Jabba and 3PO's there. And Jabba's like, fucking shitty protocol droid, tell him, say what I'm saying. And he's like, okay. And 3PO's like, listen, great Lord Jabba, will sentence you soon, but maybe he will take your last request if you properly beg him. And he's like, do you have any last words? And they fucking get Luke Skywalker up there. And Luke's like, yeah, I got some last words for that fat fuck over there. Hey, Jabba, free us or die. And it's like, Luke is so goddamn cool in this movie. And Jabba's like, oh, fuck this guy. Push his blonde, sandy ass in. And this weak way's like, he's got this goddamn, like vibro blade axe. He's pushing Luke in, and Luke's like right on the edge of the plank chair, looking down. You're seeing the very evil looking hentai sand vagina, and he's like, that's not great. But then he sees R2 up on top of Jabba's sail barge, a little compartment on, like Luke does this. Like he signs off like this, like he salutes R2, is like, you and me, little buddy, you and me. And R2's like, fuck yeah, Luke, you're my boy. And then R2, this little slot on top of his head like reveals something. It's like, what is that? Is that a lightsaber? What is that? And then Luke, he jumps off, but he twists in midair. He grabs on the plank, just pushes himself up. He uses the momentum, does a fucking flippy jump. Boom. R2 shoots. What we see is indeed a lightsaber, chat, and is reminiscent of Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber. Luke Skywalker built a new lightsaber, but in the design of Obi-Wan Ben Kenobi, because that was his mentor, Chad. Ben meant so much to him. And fucking Luke lands on this skiff, puts up his hand, lightsaber perfectly lands in it, ignites it, and we see the debut, chat, of the green-bladed lightsaber, and Luke goes to town, slicing and dicing the shitty, slimy Jabba guards. Just boom, 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 one after. They're like, whoa! And everyone starts freaking out. Boba, he's been drinking. Boba's been at the bar, and he's had a few too many appletinis, if you know what I'm saying. He's like, what the fuck? What? Oh, Jesus, Jedi. Oh, God. And he sees this. And he's like, I gotta get over there. I gotta get over there. And he's fucking trying to get up to the top, chat, where all the action is. Meanwhile, Luke, he's just fucking going off slicing. He's jumping between all these skiffs, killing all these guys. Lando's like, I'm here too. I'm Lando Calrissian. I fooled you. He starts fighting with all these people, chat. Starts knocking these guys over. Guys are falling in the sand vagina, chat, getting vored, where they're going to be digested in JJ juices for like 1,000 years. This is like, oh boy, what a treat. But there's this one guy who brings up this like detachable blaster cannon, and he's firing at the skiff that Lando, Han, and Chewbacca are on, and this causes it to tip over. It damages one of the thrusters, and Lando and the guy fall off, but Lando like holds on for like dear life. He's kind of holding on the edge of the pit, you know, in the sand dune. He's like, oh fucking shit, this one guy's getting vored, and he's like, oh fucking shit, oh god. So he's freaking out at this point. Eventually, Boba Fett, he's like, I'm here, everybody. I'm here. And he blasts off on his jetpack, chat, because he's like, I'm going to take care of you, Luke. And he starts shooting at Luke, but Luke's like, nah, I don't think so. And he cuts his E-33 blaster rifle in half, chat. And Boba's like, fucking shit. And he's like, all right, I got you. Yeah, he activates his cable. His cable constrictor, and it wraps around Luke's body, and Luke's like, fucking shit, what the hell? And he manages to cut himself free, and it pulls Boba Fett forward, who then falls forward, chat. Meanwhile, Han and Chewie are trying to get their bonds off because they don't know what the hell's going on. And like Lando's like, somebody help me! I'm the only black man in Star Wars at this point. Don't kill me! Like, don't kill Lando yet, Chet. He's the only black man in Star Wars. But Luke does a flippy jump over the other skiff because it's firing at them. He goes over there. He starts blasting. Boba Fett's like, I fucking got it. Hold on. And he's like, hey, and he activates his gauntlet, but he's so fucking drunk, Chet. He's so fucking drunk, and he's been indulging himself with all the alien ladies and Jabba's pals. He's like, let's fucking do it. And he fires it, but he misses. Luke blocks the blast. He doesn't even know it. Luke's just like, boing, blocks it. Meanwhile, Han, he's getting up. He's like, I'm going to help Lando. And he's like talking to Chewbacca. Chewbacca's trying to tell him something. And Han's like, Boba Fett, where? And a blind man... accidentally hits Boba Fett's jackpack, chat, which sends him careening into the side of Jabba's sail barge. Oh, boom! Which he then falls down and is vored by a sand vagina, chat, which then belches. There's a lot of roughage. Han is Daredevil. Boba didn't do anything wrong. Boba's just fulfilling his contractual obligations. Look what's in the big galaxy far, far away with all kinds of creatures, but only one black guy. Sounds legit. Yeah. Only one. Yes, very undignified. But it's okay, chat, because the thing regurgitates him. It front poops him out. Don't worry. And he's got his own series now. He's looking a little crusty now, and he put on a little bit of weight. Other than that, he's looking pretty good. He's looking better than we'd expect, chat. At this point, we cut to the sail barge, and Leia, who is pretty much done being Jabba's slave girl, has decided to choke a bitch. And she's fucking wrapped her slave train right around Jabba's fat, just multiple-chinned neck, and starts just choking him. He's like, He's like, this is so hot. This is what I want. Maybe Jabba's like it. I don't know. But it's a little too much autoerotic asphyxiation, chat. Because she starts just going right. And he just, and he dies. It's like, fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah, chat. Hell yeah. Feminism beat the disgusting Harvey Weinstein fat slug abomination. It fucking did it. She had Daddy's little girl. Hell yeah. That was even more sad if you look at him as a space harbor. Yeah, exactly. That's what I just said. Oh my God. We have the same mind. Fucking kills him, chap. Kills Jabba the Hutt. And that was a good victory for Leia, because she needed that after, he basically sexualized her and shit. You're my slave girl. I'm going to do things to you. Blah. And she's like, yeah, bitch. And she chokes a bitch. Yeah, that's what she does. At this point, R2's like, I'm here, honey, I'm here. And he's like, here, R2. And he's like, I got you. And he cuts the chain. And he's like, we got to get the hell out of here right now. Eventually, Luke, he ends up on top of the sail barge. He's still battling people. Leia ends up there. We then cut to Lando, Han, and Chewie having some issues because Lando's like, you can fucking put down the viral blade. I can grab it. He's like, he's like, a little lower. Just a little lower. And at this point, the fucking sand vagina unleashes a tentacle and it grabs around Lando's thigh. And he gives a very authentic scream. Goes, "Whoa!" which is what you would say if this giant sarlacc, the pit of Carcoon, wrapped around your thigh. And he's like, up. And eventually, Han, he gets a blaster. Chewie gives him a blaster. And Lando's like, what are you doing? I thought you were blind. He's like, it's okay. I can see a lot better. Boom. Shoots it right in the tentacle, Chad. Right in the hentai tentacle. Releases Lando. He starts crawling back up. They give him the viral blade. They pull him onto the skiff, Chad. Thank you, Star Fox on base. Went away of David Carradine, indeed. Except Jabba was not wearing a dress. That was the only difference. But, thank you for the 5 minutes, good sir. But we cut then chat to the top of sail barge. Luke is battling all these fucking, Jabba guards and shit. Eventually, Leia gets up there. Luke tells her, just fucking get those cables and aim the main gun at the ship itself, and I'll tell you when to fire. She's like, okay, cool. And meanwhile, while he's telling her all this, a guy shoots Luke's hand. He goes, ah! And he's like, shit, but he fucking slices him open, chat. He kills him. And eventually, he gets up there with Leia, grabs her, holds on the fucking cable, and it's like a little homage to when they initially swing over the chasm in the original New Hope. It's like, it's a tip of the hat to that original scene where they're helping each other, showing off their competence, chat, together. The bro, sis team, chat, of Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa. They don't know they're bro and sis yet, but they soon will. And he fucking kicks the gun, chat, boom, and unloads its payload, loads its thick, girthy wad inside of Jabba's sail barge, and they swing over on the cable onto the skiff. Meanwhile, R2 and 3PO, they fucking, whoa! They jump off of it in an action movie fashion, chat, land the sand below. Meanwhile, I get to the skiff, Jabba's sail barge is blowing up and shit, and Luke's like, let's get going, but don't forget the droids. And Lando, who apparently is now is Morgan Freeman from Driving Miss Daisies. He says, no problem, Master Skywalker, I got you. Goes over. He's driving. It's like, what the fuck? He drives over, picks up 3PO and R2-D2, and they get the hell out of there, Chad, as we see Jabba's sail barge explode in the distance, Chad. And it's fucking great. But you ever stop to think that, fucking Lando's the one that's driving? I know, I'm reading into it. I'm joking. I'm reading a little too deep, but I thought it was funny. And they fucking get the hell out of there. Eventually, Chad, we cut to space. They escape off Tatooine. There was a deleted scene apparently of a sandstorm when they're kind of like part ways, and I don't know if you can find footage. I think you can find footage and some really rough ADR. But there are scenes, there are stills of this where they part ways, where Han and everybody goes in the Millennium Falcon and Luke of R2 goes in the X-Wing. But it doesn't matter. They get off the thing, the Millennium Falcon, Han, Lando, Leia, 3PO. They're going to meet up with the Rebellion near Sullust, and which is the homeworld of the Celestians, chat. Little ninjubs, the vagina face. A lot of vagina in this movie. The vagina face people. And Luke is going to go somewhere else. And he's like, I'll see you guys in a bit, but I need to visit an old friend. You know who that old friend is, chat? We're going to find out in a bit. But we then transition, chat. We then transition to the Death Star 2, and we are seeing another Imperial shuttle flanked by a greater number of TIE fighters, chat, land on the Death Star. And apparently, whatever's happening is a big fucking deal because there's like hundreds, if not thousands, of stormtroopers just like standing like, what's going on today? What the fuck's going on? Everyone's standing out there, chat. And then we see the shuttle open and the ramp extend, and we see all these giant like red Crayola crayon people come out, and these the Emperor's Royal Guards. It's like, what? Is the Emperor here? Marv Jared's like shitting himself right now. And they all walk out, and then we get all the mist machines and fog machines, and here he is, chap. Papa Palpatine himself struts down that fucking shuttle like, this is my fucking empire, bitch. And he's enjoying himself. Even Vader's on his knees. And Palpatine's like, rise, my friend. And Vader's like, Palpatine, good to see you. Listen, I can tell you truthfully that the construction of the Death Star is going according to plan. He's like, excellent, Lord Vader. And soon you may return to your quest to find your son, Luke Skywalker. And he goes, yes, my Emperor. He's like, patience, my friend. Everything is going according to plan. And he just starts laughing. And I was a stormtrooper. I'm like, did the Emperor say something funny? What was the joke? He's just laughing randomly. I love him. I love him so much. Thank you, Hidden Eagle. Once more the Sith shall rule the galaxy. And then we shall have peace. They look like chewed up human bubblegum. He has like got these giant tumors. I don't know what it is, but he's got like this giant gray tumors like on his head, and they're so gross, but they look so real. I loved it. And the thing is, what's so cool about this, like we still don't see exactly what he looks like. We see like here. We see like the tip of his nose. We see like his lips and shit. You know, his bottom of his mouth. We don't really see his eyes. Like they're still clouded. Like how did they? That was a really good shot. How they got the cloak over there, but we're still like, wait, what does he really look like? It's really cool. I really love the eventual reveal when he's like, oh my god, you're ugly as fuck. Really creepy looking. But he's laughing his ass off. Eventually, chat, we then cut to Dagobah. We talk to the abode of Master Yoda, chat. You know, the most powerful Jedi currently alive. And this motherfucker's dying, chat. He's been training Jedi he's over 900 years old. Been training them for centuries, but now his time has come. He's going, and it's so sad. Like Frank, I think, did Frank Oz voice Yoda in this? I believe it was Frank Oz. Frank Oz is Yoda. He does such a great job. I just want to make sure, because sometimes Frank Oz doesn't always voice Yoda. But yes, he does such a fucking fantastic job of voicing just dying Yoda. Where he's like, trained Jedi for many years I have, but come to an end, my life will. And he's like trying to cook some shit. He's like a grandpa. He's like a grandma. Eat. You must eat. Keep up your seat. He's like, I don't want any food, Yoda. It's good for you. You need to eat. And he's like, I don't want your food. She's like, this is why you don't listen to me. This is why you got your hand cut off. You don't listen to Yoda. He's very mad. But you know, Luke needs some answers here. Luke needs some answers. And Yoda's like, listen, man, you got to do what you got to do. I'm going to die now. And he hops in the bed. He's like, rest I must. Rest. Short my time is on this physical plane. And Luke's like, hey, listen, before you go, I gotta ask you a question. And Yoda's like, what is it, young Luke? And he's, I have to know, is Darth Vader my father? And Yoda's like, rest I must, rest, yes, sleep. And fucking Luke's like, Yoda. He's like, fine. Indeed. Your father is Darth Vader. And Luke's like, holy fucking shit. Oh, my God. Oh, my Lord. Holy shit. He can't believe it. He's like, hey, here's a confirmation. You know, originally, this is interesting, chat. I forgot to mention this. Guess I'll die now. Originally, Yoda was not going to be in Return of the Jedi. Richard Marquand and Lawrence Kasdan insisted that he be in the film. But Lucas was like, I don't want him in the movie. But they said it would make more sense to have someone else other than, Vader be the one to say that Darth Vader's Luke's father is to have confirmation that to get total confirmation, Yoda been like, yeah, he's your dad. And that's why Yoda's in the movie. Originally, Lucas did not originally have Yoda in the film. It was only on the insistence chat of Richard Marquand, the director, and Lawrence Kasdan, the co-writer. That's why he's here. And yes, and Yoda's basically saying, yeah, listen, you got to, your father is powerful, he is in the dark side, but you'll do okay. But once I pass on, the last of the Jedi, you will be. And Luke's like, I'm finally a Jedi. Wow, it's amazing. And then Yoda's like, starts fucking laughing at him. And Luke's like, what are you laughing at me for? He's like, no, only when you defeat and kill Vader will you be Jedi. And he's like, you want me to kill my dad? He's like, but Yoda, I sense good in him. And Yoda's like, not know him, you did. I knew him. Reckless, arrogant, whiny, younglings he killed. Evil he is. And he's like, I don't know if I can do that, Yoda. Then failed we all have. Dead we all are. Pointless are you. And he's like, well, gotta die. And he and the way he dies, before he dies, Barry McGoner, thank you so much for resubscribing. 8 months, 6 month streak, 1 month away from pooping out that Twitch baby, my friend. Good to see you. But he's like, one thing I must tell you, there is another Skywalker. And he dies. There is another Skywalker. What? And then Yoda turns, like how Obi-Wan died in New Hope. He just turns into fucking air. And he's gone. And Luke's like, oh, it's so sad. And then he leaves. He then leaves Yoda's little shit hut. And he sees the lights go out. Like the lights just all go out because Yoda's spirit leaves. And he's by his X-Wing. R2's like, I ain't fucking going over there. R2's there. It's like, I fucking hate it here. I am not going to be vored by a swamp slug again. I'm going to stay by the ship, okay? I learned my goddamn lesson. I'm going to see my husband at the end of this movie, okay? 3PO and I are going to go on a long vacation. I'm going to work on this shit. He's working on the ship. And then Yoda, he sees like a blue fucking light coming over in the distance, and it's Ben Kenobi. And Ben's like, hello, Luke. And Luke's like, Ben. He's like, hey, how you doing? It's been a while. It's been like a year since, on Hoth and everything. And, I guess Dagobah, technically. I was on Dagobah last time. That's true. That's true. I told you not to leave. And you got your hand cut off. Yeah. Familiar. And he's like, hey, Ben, listen, I have a question for you. Why the fuck didn't you tell me Darth Vader was my father, Anakin Skywalker? And Obi-Wan's like, Anakin, he fell to the dark side. And he became Darth Vader. So, in a way, from my point of view, your father didn't die. And he's like, are you fucking serious? From your point of view, in a way, he died? He's like, no, man. Obi-Wan's like, listen, motherfucker. You don't know. You don't know, all right? I fought your dad on a goddamn side of a volcano, all right? I had the high ground, by the way. Remember that shit. Okay, and he killed younglings. He fucking killed his pregnant wife. She lost the will to live at that point. But whatever. He's a piece of shit. Fuck him. He doesn't deserve our mercy, all right? He's been killing billions of people for 25 fucking years, all right? His time is done. And Luke's like, Ben, I feel good in him. He's like, oh, my God. All right, you feel good, I'm sure. Okay, listen. He's like, great. And he's like, Luke's like, I got another question for you, Ben. He's like, what's the other question? And he's like, Yoda told me there's like another Skywalker out there other than me and my dad. Who's that person? He's like, hey, man, you got to do this on your own. Search your feelings. Who do you think it is? And Luke's like, oh, Leia. Oh, my God, I kissed her. He's like, yeah, man, that was weird. I was there. And you're like, oh, shit, that's not good. Incest. That's Game of Thrones, Luke. Very Games of Thrones. And he's like, oh, boy, well, I'm never going to bring that up again. Don't. Definitely don't. And he's like, listen, if you don't defeat Darth Vader, okay, like, him and the Emperor are going to take over. The rebellion's going to be crushed. You might die, you might be crushed by the dark side, and they'll take Leia too, and she might die, and she might be corrupted over the dark side, and the Emperor grows stronger. And Luke's just like, Ben, listen, I love you, man, but I really think he's like, I know there's good in him. Well, listen, I'm good luck. You're not going to see me till the end of the movie, so you do what you think is best, but you got to kill your dad. you really got to kill your dad. And Luke's like, I'll consider it. He's like, okay, cool. And he takes off in the X-Wing. He flies back. Later, we then cut to the Rebel fleet near Sullust, chat. They're having a fucking meeting, chat. Mon Mothma is there to present some evidence of the Death Star 2. Many Bothans died for this information, chat. Many Bothans died. They are like a marsupial anteater looking race, and they're typically known for their technological expertise, subterfuge, and spying, and a lot of them fucking died to bring us this evidence, okay, of the existence of the Death Star 2 and the information for it. It's currently being constructed near the forest moon of Endor, where there are little teddy bears, okay? So Admiral Akbar will present the battle plan, and we got the Admiral Akbar, who is fucking fantastic. Love Admiral Akbar, chat. He's one of the champions of the rebellion, one of the greatest admirals, one of the greatest soldiers in the history of the Rebel Alliance and the New Republic, especially in the Expanded Universe materials. He did not deserve to get sucked out of a fucking window, all right? That is stupid and it is lame, all right? I'm going to tell you that right now, right at the top. And he's like, I'm here to present the battle plan. So, he's kind of like got like a Winston Churchill. He's like, something like this. And it's like, what we will do is that we will send a small strike team on the forest moon of Endor to destroy the shield generator that is currently protecting the Death Star 2. All right? Meanwhile, once the shield generator is destroyed, the Rebel fleet will fly in. The entire Rebel fleet, chat, everything they fucking got. And they got some cool Mon Cal capital ships, which are very powerful, able to match a Star Destroyer, which is interesting because I'm like, the Empire's kind of put a crackdown on various civilizations around the galaxy to like, hey, don't make any ships because you will think that you're trying to, fight against our rule. But the Mon Calamari were smart because they must have built these somewhere because they got a shit ton of capital Mon Cal, like these big old bubble ships. In the fleet. They got some other frigates. They got some new starfighters, chat, which we'll showcase here. I can't wait to talk about them. But we will then engage the Death Star, and we will go inside of it and blow the fuck out of it. And, everyone's like, well, that's cool. And they also have, like, another admiral. A general. And this, I forget the guy's name that Admiral Akbar introduces. But he has the 70s style hair, chat. I was like, wow, you are very 70s, 80s man, aren't you? And this, I forget his name. Oh, someone knows it. Someone knows it. But he is an Imperial defector in Expanded Universe novels. There's a whole story about him defecting from the Empire to the Rebellion, and so people kind of mistrust him. But like here's where he really earns his bones, if you will, chat. People really respect him after this battle because he's like, no, I'm General Nadine. That's it. Thank you for work. Yeah, General Nadine. Thank you, General Nadine. Yeah, he's like, all right, here's the fucking plan. And he's like, we're going to need some volunteers for this strike mission. And at this point, Han's like, fuck, I'll do it. All right, let's go. Han, Leia, Chewbacca, they're doing it. Some other rebels and shit. Captain Rex, former clone, Special Forces operative, worked with Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano. He's like, I'll do it too. He's in the background. He'll do it. And then who fucking comes down the stairs? And so will I. Luke goddamn Skywalker. Like, Luke. He's like, how's Yoda? He's dead. Chewie's like, oh, no. Luke's like, Chewie, did you know who Yoda is? He's like, yeah. Yeah, Clone Wars. Yeah, I saved his life. He's like, why didn't you tell me about him? You never brought him up. He's like, fair. Fair enough. I never brought him up. That's okay. And he's like, what are we doing? I don't know what I agreed to. It's like, we're going to go to the forest moon of Endor and disable the shield generator for the Death Star 2. Cool. All right. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. And so then they go, chat. Then they're getting set up. They're getting ready to leave. The fleet's preparing around Sullust at this point. But before they leave, Han Solo, we get this great shot of this hangar bay, which is like matte painting, but it's really awesome. And we get it cuts down, and we see all the new ships. Of course, we see the classic X-Wing starfighters, chat, which is, the main starfighter force of the Rebel fleet. We see the classic Y-Wings, chat, the heavy bomber Y-Wings. We see the debut of 2 new starfighters in Star Wars, chat. The A-Wing, which is it's lightly armored, but a very fast starfighter, chat, faster than the X-Wing, can match the same speeds as the TIE Interceptor, one of the latest new starfighters produced by the Empire, chat. They can zip around a battlefield like nobody's fucking business. And the other one, chat, one of my personal favorites, I think a really underrated starfighter, in my opinion, in Star Wars, the B-Wing fighter, chat, which is this thing is just a fucking tank. This thing has 4 laser cannons, and it's huge. It's got a big fucking payload, chat. It's hard to kill a fucking B-Wing fighter. Looks goddamn great. And so, but we see General Lando Calrissian. Han's like, generally is like, they knew about my Battle of Tanab. And he's like, all right, talk about Tanab. Always about the Battle of Tanab with you, Lando. Okay. And he's like, listen, Lando, I'm going to go down here and volunteer for this. I got to give you the Falcon. Han's, Lando's like, hey, man. I wish, like, Han and Lando, this is one of my big, so at this point, witness me. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Nick Diaz, the chat tech with the raid. Everybody on the dance floor. Raid. Thank you, Nick. Hope you're doing very well, good sir. Always a pleasure to see Nick Diaz, one of the backbones of the DT community. Good to see you, my friend. Go to the middle of my review for Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. It's been very fun so far. But Han basically is giving Lando the Falcon because he's going to be one of the leaders. He's going to be the starfighter leader to attack the Death Star. Now, I think there's two big lost opportunities. One, there should have been a conversation between Han and Lando because of the fallout after Empire. Like, they never have that conversation. It never happens. I don't know if that was in the script originally, or maybe they cut it out, but that needed to happen. They needed to talk about what happened on Cloud City, and they never do. It's just like, it's long. Out of sight, out of mind. It's like, no. They need to talk about that, and Lando should have joined them on that mission together on Endor. And because I really do think Billy D. Williams, I love the Lando character. I think Billy D. Williams is great in Star Wars, both here, and he's great in Rise of Skywalker. When he finally comes in at the very, very end. But it's a lost opportunity not to see them all together and to really have that kind of rapport, with each other. I would have liked to have seen what Lando would have been like with, actually talking with Luke and having that interaction with Han with all the, the context, the hanging over their heads that, I betrayed you originally, in that movie. And it's like, that would have been interesting to me. And they don't do that. And it's a lost opportunity. That's one of my, at this point in the film, one of my big criticisms of the movie is that they really do underuse Billy D. Williams. It's a shame. It's a shame. What they have him do is fun. Like, I love his little rapport of Nina, the vagina face man. And, Lando and Wedge, they destroy the Death Star too, which is fucking awesome. They lead along with Admiral Akbar, they lead the fleet against the massive Imperial fleet. It's like 20 fucking Star Destroyers led by Darth Vader's capital ship, the Executor. Like, that's really fucking cool, but I would have loved to have seen Billy D. Williams interact with Han and Leia, Luke, and everyone else more. That's just me. That's what I would have preferred, chap. But, Lando, he gets in they have a captured Imperial shuttle, so they're going to sneak through the blockade. And, Han, he's about to take off, but he sees the Millennium Falcon. And he's like, I don't know. I got a bad feeling about this. And Leia's like, don't worry. But they eventually, they fucking fly off, chap. They fly off. And so now, they get to Endor, they come out of hyperspace, and they got to try to pass the Imperial blockade. And who are they dealing with, chat? Admiral Piet, commander of the Executor and the admiral of the most massive Imperial fleet since Grand Admiral Thrawn. All right, he's there, and they get the fucking, they put in this code to, pass by to land on Endor for supplies. And, there's a great line where Han's like, don't get too close to them, Chewie, but don't look like you're trying to not get close to them. And Chewie's like, the fuck does that mean? He's very frustrated. But then, Vader's there, and he's like, fucking Luke's on that shuttle. I know that's Luke. And he goes, and Luke's like, oh, shit, I'm putting everyone in danger. I shouldn't have come. And Han's like, Luke, take it easy. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. But then, Vader walks up to Admiral Piet, and Vader's like, where's that shuttle going? Admiral Piet's like, it's going down to the Forest Moon. It's just about to land deliver some supplies. And Vader's like, did it put through its Imperial code? And LPF's like, well, yes, it did. It's an old code, but it checks out. Should I hold them? Should I let them go? And Vader's like, go ahead and let them go. Don't let them go. And LPF's like, okay. And so everybody just lets him go. And you have a shuttle tied to him. You have clearance to land. And Han's like, see everybody? See? It all worked out. Everything's fine. And Vader's like, yeah, I know you guys are on there. And the thing is, Han is talking over the speaker, and Vader knows, everyone knows what Han Solo and the Empire sounds like. Because Vader's like, yeah, it's Han Solo. I know who that fucker is. I tortured him for a good long while. But he's like, he lets him land. He lets him land at this point. After that, we then cut We then cut to the Force Move of Endor, chat. So they fucking landed at this point. And we get a really fucking, I think, an underrated action scene in Star Wars, chat. But it's the Scout Trooper speeder bike chase scene. They all land, and they got their Rebel fighters. And it's a very small force. Looks like maybe like a 20 fighters and maybe like 20 people at least. Along with our main team there. R2 and 3PO are there with them as well. I don't know why. I mean, you know, it's like, why is the protocol droid with them? It comes in handy in a bit. But they're there because they don't know where the base is. They got to figure this out. They have no fucking clue. They have a general idea of where it is. They don't know how to get over there at this point. Like, you know, it's like, all right, we got to figure this out. And they spot some fucking scout troopers like, hey, let's go down there and just fucking bull rush those guys, those punk buster scout troopers, and we'll take them out. This is also the debut of the scout trooper shed, which are these lightly armored stormtroopers that are mostly used for reconnaissance, you know, or to scout areas out. Endor's, you know, at this point is a relatively unexplored world. The only, I think it's funny because the only other people that have been there we saw in the Ewok movies, Caravan of Courage and Battle for Endor. Those all take place before Return of the Jedi, chat, which is really cool. I will definitely review Ewoks Caravan of Courage and Ewoks The Battle for Endor someday, chat, on my stream, and I'll do commentaries for them. That'll be really fucking fun. But at this point, Han's like, I'm just going to go down there and mess with them. And they're like, but should you do that, Han? Han's like, hey, don't worry about it. It's me. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And so he goes down there, chat, and he starts fighting scout troopers, and they kick his ass. He's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, Jesus. And he starts getting bamboozled. They're like, hey, stop that. And they go down there, like Luke and Leia and everyone else, like, oh, shit, this is not good. And they see a couple other scout troopers nearby who, like, get on their bikes and just fucking vamoose out of there, Chad. They're going back to base to inform Imperial Command that there are rebel fighters down here. And it's like, oh, that's not good. Then Luke and Leia, they go ahead and they get onto some speeder bikes, too. Or they get onto a speeder bike, and they're chasing after the fucking scout troopers, Chad. And they're like, we got to get these sons of bitches. And eventually, you have these scout troopers that are looking behind them, shooting behind them, like Luke and Leia are, like laying into them, you know, and everything. But, you know, there's no effect yet. And the thing is, this was filmed, like, in, I think, California with the redwood trees. I would not want to use a fucking speeder bike here because you're going to hit some debris and just die. Just fucking die, Chad. I'm like, I'd be scared to do this. This has been the best story time ever. Thank you, Bad. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you've been enjoying it. But eventually, Luke and Leia, they pull up beside one of the scout troopers, and Luke just jumps over to this guy and just grabs him and throws him off, and he hits a fucking tree and just explodes shit. He is just jelly inside of his armor, and they both take off trying to get the rest of these fucking scout troopers, chat. Eventually, they split off a little bit. Leia, she's chasing after her guy. Luke's chasing after his guy. But Luke, he gets his speeder bike a little fucked up, Chad, and he has to abandon ship at this point. And, this guy comes right fucking at him, and he's, like, shooting at him. And Luke's like, boom, bing, bom, bom, bom. He ignites his lightsaber. He's blocking all the fucking blaster bolts. This guy's like, I'm just going to run over this fuck. But Luke goes, cuts the front half of the speeder bike, and this guy goes, hits a goddamn tree and explodes. Meanwhile, we cut to Leia, and she's battling this fucking scout trooper at this point. But she's like, I gotta get out of here. This is too bad. Like their things are connected, and she's like, she frees herself and she jumps off, and her thing crashes at this point. And this other guy's like, yeah, I did it. And he goes, oh, boom, hits a fucking tree and explodes, chap. Bad way to go. Very dangerous. I like the scout trooper uniforms too, Hamilton Burger. They're looking pretty cool. Didn't protect them though from trees. Trees are scout troopers' greatest enemy, chat. It's their weakness. Wood. And then she passes the fuck out. She's like, what the fuck happens at this point? She doesn't know what's going on. Eventually, chat, we then cut to this widow Ewok named Wicket, which is the first on-screen performance, I believe, of Warwick Davis, who was like a teenager, like 12 years old when he made this movie. And this is the controversial, entry of the Ewoks, chat. Originally, they were supposed to be Wookiees. Kenner Toys approached Lucas and said, hey, do you like money? He's like, I like money. And he's like, how about we take the Wookiees out and we put in teddy bears to then defeat the Empire's best troops? He's like, I like fucking money. And he's like, good, okay. All right, we'll do that then. And so they're all Ewoks. Now, the thing is, it's not as cool as Wookiees, but at the same time, there is a charm to the Ewoks. Like, they are fucking cute. I know what they're doing. They're meant to sell toys. But Wicket he's just adorable. I'm sorry, Chad. He's just fucking adorable. I can't help it. Because he finds Leia, who just passed the fuck out, because you would after that kind of battle. And he's like, yep, yep. Yep, yep. And he starts poking her, and she comes to, he's like, and she's like, oh, you're a feisty little thing. Hey, buddy, it's okay. It's all right. And he's like, you want some food? You want some food? Yep, yep. And she, like, takes out, like, a candy bar, and he gives it to him. He's like, this is delicious, thank you. And they sit down, he's all cuddly, and in the special edition, so in the original versions, he just has these big fucking dewy eyes that just stare at you. But then in the special editions, they gave him, he's blinking, and it's very disturbing when he does. It's like, oh, that's not a part of his body. They got that going on. And they're just sitting there, and Leia's just hanging out with Wicket. She takes off his helmet, and Wicket's like, oh my fucking God, you just removed your head. What the fuck is wrong with you? And he freaks the fuck out. She goes, it's a helmet. It's a helmet. And he's like, grabs it, and he's like, oh. And then he freaks out because he hears something in the woods. And she's like, what? What is it? What is it? He's like, Okita. Otika. And then, boom, 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 all this blaster fire comes from nowhere, and they roll into this giant log. And she's like, holy fucking shit. And she pulls out her blast. So she's like, stay down, stay down. Wicket's like, don't worry, girl, I got you. And he just goes off in a different direction. Like, where you going, Wicket? Okay, no, stay down, buddy. But then the scout trooper comes up behind her. He's like, freeze, come here, rebel scum. And she's like, fucking shit. And, like, she's crawling out. She's on her hands. She's got her, she's got on her knees. She's got her hands raised. And then Wicket comes up behind this man and just goes and just stabs him right at the base of his skull, chat, right in the neck. And the spear comes through. And he falls down dead, chat. And Leia's like, holy fucking shit. And he's like, yep, nub. Yep, nub. And he puts the body, he starts chopping up the body with an axe, chat. Puts it in a sack. Yup, nub. And she's like, what? Yup, nub. And there's like, okay, yup, nub. And they go in some direction. We don't know where the fuck they're going, chat, but they're going to yup, nub. As far as I know, as far as we're concerned, yup, nub. Luke just can't just leave things alone. He cannot. He needs to do it. Eventually, we cut back to the Rebels where Han Solo is because he fucked up. He feels bad. Rebels are there. Fucking Captain Rex is there too. Luke joins them. He's like, hey, guys, how's everyone doing? Hey, where's Leia? And Han's like, she was with you. Yeah, but we got separated. He's like, Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, Chewie's like, I'm so hungry. And he's like, what's that delicious smell? And he wanders off. And they're like, Chewie, where you going? Where you going, Chewie? What the fuck? Chewie, where are you going? And he goes over. And he sees like this animal carcass on this fucking stick. And he's like, Chewie, it's just a dead animal. Leave it alone. He fucking Chewie pulls and Luke's like, no, Chewie, no. And then boom, this fucking net picks him up in the sky. And we're like, well, this is fucking great. And Chewie like has the animal's asshole right in his face, and he's like, oh. And Luke's like, Han, help me grab my lightsaber. I can cut us out. Han's like, got it, okay. But then R2's like, don't worry, guys, I got it. And he starts, sawing. C-3PO's like, R2, wait. And they all fucking fall down. And they're like, oh, Jesus Christ, my asshole. And suddenly, chat, they are surrounded by teddy bears. Shit ton of all the Ewoks, and they're like, yep, nub. And they're like, whoa, let's take it easy. Like, hey, little guy. Han's like, hey, little guy, don't point that fucking thing at me. And they're like, yep. And Luke's like, Han, don't make them mad. You're scaring them. They're gonna stab us. And he's like, I don't give a shit. And all of a sudden, 3PO is like, oh my goodness, where are we? And they're like, Goda. And they start like, Goda. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Why are they all mesmerized by 3PO? And Luke starts laughing. Luke starts laughing in the background, which is very funny. It's a subtle thing because Han's talking the scene, but I like that Hamill's just laughing. And 3PO's like, oh my goodness, it seems to think that they think I am some sort of God. And he's like, well, why don't you, in your divine fucking wisdom, tell him you're a god and get us out of here? And 3PO's like, well, it is against my programming to tell them that I'm a deity. It's against your programming. Come here, you! And the Ewok's like, don't fucking touch our golden man. He is beautiful. We will yub-nub you. We will stab you and yub-nub you. And I was like, I don't know what yub-nub means, but it doesn't sound good. And they drag them off. They drag them off, chat. Meanwhile, we cut to Vader, who is now on the Death Star 2, Che. He's going to the Emperor's throne room. Emperor Palpatine, he's fucking sitting there in his chair. And Palpatine's like, I thought I told you to stay on the command ship. And Vader's like, there's a small contingent of rebels who have snuck through our blockade and are currently on the planet. And Palpatine's like, I'm aware of that, I know. And he's like, Vader's like, my son is there among them. And this is the first time I think Palpatine where he's shown maybe his powers are starting to wane. Because Palpatine's like, yeah, I didn't sense him. I didn't sense Luke Skywalker on the planet. And he's like, are you sure? And Vader's like, I'm sure. He's like, is it not? Listen, I know you're emotional and shit, but are you really sure, Lord Vader? I have not sensed him. Perhaps your desire for your son has clouded your judgment. And Vader's like, he's there. And Palpatine's like, all right, okay. Go ahead, go down to the forest moon of Endor and wait for him. And Vader's like, I mean, I can just go find him. He's like, no. He will come to you, Lord Vader. I am certain of it. And Vader's like, cool. And so he goes down to Endor, chat, hang out there for a little bit. But eventually, we cut to the Ewok village, chat, where the Ewoks have strung up Luke Skywalker, Han Solo. The rebels are like, well, this fucking sucks. They've been captured, chat. And we see Ewok village, everyone's swinging on fucking vines. They live in the trees, which makes sense why the Empire just hasn't found them, I guess. I mean, if I was the Empire, I'd be like, yeah, slaughter all the teddy bears. Get rid of them. They keep eating all of us. But you know, they didn't do that. Now then look what happened. Look what happened. Their best troops got slaughtered by a bunch of teddy bears. And so eventually they come to this big bonfire, chat, where they also have 3PO. He's in his fucking wooden throne. And Han's like, 3PO, what are they doing? And he's like, I think, because he's talking with the chief, and he's like, they prepared a feast for me. I don't eat, but I guess they're going to eat things. And I guess you're the main course. They're going to eat people. The Ewoks are carnivorous, and they're going to eat. They're little cannibals, chat. And it's like, holy fucking shit. And Han's saying, tell them not to do that. Okay? And he's like, I've already said that. I don't know what else to do. And Luke's like, 3PO, how about this? Tell them that let us go, or you'll be very mad, and you'll have to use your magic. And 3PO's like, Master Luke, I don't know magic. And he's like, it's okay, just fucking do it. And 3PO's like, and the chief's like, okay, that's great, Golden Honey. All right, let's start cooking the man meat. And, you know, Han's like, like freaking out about this. But then Luke just closes his eyes, and suddenly 3PO's just floating around, and it's like, oh my goodness, oh, R2, help me. And R2 says, like, honey, it's okay, just, it's Master Luke, he's the Force. How do you not, oh yeah, they erased your memory in the end of Revenge of the Sith. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Anyway, it's okay, honey. And he's like, oh my goodness. Also, eventually, he comes back down. The Ewoks fucking free Han and Luke and shit, and like an R2. R2 just falls over, like, down. But Wicket gives him like the Ewoks like help him up, and R2's like, get your fucking filthy hands off me. And he starts zapping, and one going, oota, oota, like right in his booty butt, his thick furry booty. And he freaks the fuck out, and he runs away. But then Wicket's there, and he starts hugging R2. He's like, I'm sorry. Then Leia comes out, and she's become one of the tribe, chat. She's got all her hair all undone. They're like, ooh-ta. And she goes up to Han, like, Leia, you've been here the whole time. She's like, yeah, I was supposed to get some fucking food. They've been feeding me humans for like a day. I've gotten a taste for it. And then her and fucking Han start kissing and everything. Oh, it's great. But they're accepted now. They're accepted. And now we have story time, chat, because C-3PO, everyone's sitting there. Everyone's like in this big old fucking log house. And 3PO is literally telling them Star Wars. Like episode, 4, A New Hope, and episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. He's like, I'm doing my version of it. And he's talking about Darth Vader and the Death Star and Ben Kenobi and shit, and Han Solo getting the carbonite. All the Ewoks are like, just humping Han's leg. It's like, I know. Luke's hearing this story, and he hears Vader's name and stuff, and he's like, He leaves. He walks out. The Ewoks are just fucking mesmerized by this incredible story. Eventually, 3PO's like, that's where we were, Jabba the Hutt and shit, and here we are. And the chief's like, wow, that is incredible. That's better than Yub Nub. We will definitely help you and join you on your battle and quest to defeat the Empire. We know a secret entrance to the base, so we got you. And Han's like, cool. And he's like, hey, 3PO, all right, confirm that. And they're members of the tribe. The chief's like, you are now Ewoks. You may not look like us. You may not be as sexy as us, but you are Ewoks, okay? Thank you so much. And they're like, oh, they're great. And Han's like, listen, 3PO, tell them that we, send us there tomorrow. Also, ask for some supplies. Also, ask for if they have any weapons or have acquired any Imperial armaments. Also, hurry up, will you? And 3PO's like, okay, fuck you, Han. I'm trying my best. And he tells the chief all this. Meanwhile, Luke is just kind of standing outside Ewok Village, just like, he's got a lot on his mind. Leia comes up to him, and he goes, hey, what's up? What's going on? He's like, I've been dealing with a lot. I've just been thinking, and I don't know what to do, Leia. I'm kind of conflicted. And she goes, I'm sorry, well, just talk to me about it. And he goes, I don't know. Do you remember your mother? Do you remember your mother? And she goes, your birth mother. And she goes, oh yeah. But more like images, really. She was really sad, almost like she lost the will to live. And it's like, how the fuck do you know that? You were literally born. You knew your mother for like seconds of life. But okay, sure. All right, yeah, whatever. And Luke's like, I don't have any memory of my mother. I don't know nothing about, which is like, I believe you, Luke. Leia's lying. Leia's straight up fucking lying. There's no doubt about that, chat. And Luke's like, I have no memory of my mother. Know my dad, though. I know my dad pretty well. And she's like, tell me about him. He's like, well, it's just like, I gotta do this thing, Leia. She used the Force. Yes. That's the excuse. She used the Force. That's the only explanation. Has to be it, Casper. And he's like, I gotta do this thing, Leia. I have to confront Vader. I need to confront him. I need to defeat him. And she's like, why do you need to do this? And he's like, well, because he's my dad. And she's like, oh, what? You mean the guy who's been like on her asses for like 5 years is your dad? It's like, yeah, Darth Vader's my dad. Yeah. And it's crazy because, the Force is strong in my family. I have it. My father has it. My sister has it. And Leia's like, sister? Wait, Luke, what the hell are you talking about? You just dropped this fucking giant, piece of info on me, this big piece of exposition. Darth Vader's your dad? Holy shit, it's gonna blow people's mind. We can't tell anybody that. He's a genocidal maniac, okay? Like, we can't reveal that. I mean, Luke, I feel really bad for you. So who's your sister? He's like, you. She's like, oh, Jesus. Fuck. Oh, we kissed. Oh, I'm never going to live this down. He's like, we never have to talk about it. The only people that know about it are Han and Chewie, and we can kill him, Leia. We can kill him because you know the Force too. And she's like, oh, Jesus. I don't know the Force. You know the Force. He's like, no, it's powerful in our family. You know this too, okay? And listen, I know it's confusing. There's a lot going on. So that's a big info drop on you. She's like, yeah, a little bit. Holy shit, we fucking kissed. That's some Game of Thrones shit. He goes, yeah, listen, I got to go talk to my dad. I'm going to try to work this out with him, trying to take him over to the light side. I'm sure it'll work out. I'll see you later. Good luck with the attack on the base. And then he fucking leaves. And Han Lee walks out. He's like, hey, this Yub-Nub's good. Hey, what are you guys talking about? What's going on? And she's like, I don't know. I don't want to talk right now. I just want to be alone. And he's like, oh, want to be alone. Okay. You could tell Luke whatever it is, but you can't tell me. And she's like, just fucking leave me alone. And Han's like, oh, I'm sorry. I yelled at you. I'm sorry. I'm just stressed out. And this Yub-Nub's delicious. You want some Yub-Nub? And she's like, no, I don't want a Yub-Nub. And he's like, come here. And she's like, what's going on with you? He's just like, just hold me. He's like, okay. And he's just holding her, chap. Eventually, we cut to an Imperial shuttle landing on the main part of the base on Endor, chat, and Vader walks out of the Imperial shuttle. Now, there's a little bit of an error here. So the ramp is the only real thing in that shot, because a lot of it's the ramp and the floor. The upper portion of the shuttle is a matte painting, and you can literally see Vader's head clipping through it, which is very funny. But he's going down there because he got word that apparently the Imperial Stormtrooper Regiment captured a rebel that surrendered. And he goes down this elevator, and he walks over, and this fucking door opens up with this Imperial commander, and Luke, and this Imperial commander is like, we've captured this rebel. He says he's the only one there, but we believe there are more of them. And he was armed only with this, the lightsaber, chat. And Vader takes this. He's like, huh. He's like, good work, Commander. Go ahead. And he, like, Vader gives an Imperial captain, like an Imperial officer, I've never heard him ever give Imperial officer a compliment. Good work, Commander. Go ahead and do your search. And he's like, right away, Lord Vader. And he leaves. And then Vader's like, so, how are things been? And it's like, they've been okay, Father. He's like, you have finally accepted the truth. And Luke's like, I accept the truth that my father was a Jedi Knight named Anakin Skywalker. And Vader turns around and goes, listen, you little shit, don't you ever say that name in front of me again. Anakin fucking got his penis burned off on a volcano. That guy is dead. And Luke's like, listen, I know who you are. I've sensed good in you. All right, there's a chance to bring you over to the light. And Vader's like, no, that ain't gonna happen. It's too late for me. But I love, like, this is where you start to see, like, Vader. He's questioning himself. And again, you have James Earl Jones' voice, but it's David Prowse's physical performance here that I love because it's the subtlety. It's like you can see it, and I love it in his subtle movements. Creepy Annie! To make the most awkward Thanksgiving plans ever. Victoria21, thank you for the follow. And really appreciate that. You're my new Huckleberry. Welcome to stream. Welcome to the community. But, Luke is, like Vader's like, it's too late for me. It's not going to happen. And Vader tries to change the subject. He's like, hey, I seen you built a new lightsaber. Looks like Obi-Wan's. Great. That's cool. Hey, looks like your training is complete. And Luke's like, no. I'm not going to work with you, Dad. Okay. I was like, I know that you're not going to. I know you can't kill me. I know you're not going to bring me to your emperor. Because I know you're a good person. And Vader's like, yeah. And he fucking ignites the lightsaber. And Luke's like, oh shit. He called my bluff just like Ben. But he closes up. He shuts it off. And he's like, hey, you did good work. But it's like, I got to serve the Emperor. You're going to go see him right now. You're going to accept him as your master. And then Luke says, then my father is truly dead. And he just fucking walks off. And Vader's like, Jesus, that was heavy. And then I love the subtlety of it because after the Imperials, the stormtroopers and stuff, and the commanders take Luke up to the shuttle, Vader takes a moment for himself where he hears that from Luke. Because I think that really affected him on an emotional level. And then he puts his hands on the railing and he just looks out into Endor. And it's like, I love that because he's starting to question himself. The first time we ever seen Vader really start to question himself. And I love that about that. Eventually, where are we after this? Oh, yes. So we got that big thing here. Very fucking cool. We then cut to the Rebel fleet chat. They are now leaving Sullust, and they're hyperspacing to Endor chat, being led by Admiral Akbar. It's the entire Rebel fleet chat. Lando Calrissian, he is currently piloting the Millennium Falcon, along with his vagina face friend, and Celestin Ningnub chat. He's there as well. And it's like, yes, Ningnub, we were going to go defeat the Empire. And they go in hyperspace chat to Endor to engage the Imperial armies and Death Star 2. Eventually, chat, we cut to the Forest Moon again, where Han, Leia, 3PO, R2, and the Rebel fighters are being led by the Ewoks to the back door, basically, of the Imperial base, where it's being lightly guarded. There's only about three or four guys there. And Han's like, okay, perfect. We'll just take these guys out, be very quick. But the Ewoks are like, and they're like, what are you talking about? What are you talking? And they just fucking go off. And he's like, well, stop them. Where are they going? But this little Ewok guy, Chad, he hops on a speeder bike, and the Scourger's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And he just fucking speeds off. And it's like, get that fucking teddy bear. And these three guys get on their goddamn bikes chasing after this guy, Chad. And this Ewok's holding on for dear life. Yeah. His feet's in the fucking air. Eventually, he manages to sit down as he's driving this thing. And the Imperials are peppering him with blaster fire. He's like, I gotta get the fuck off of this. Eventually, he grabs onto a vine and the thing goes, woo! And he goes up in the trees and he's fine. He's safe. But now it's like, oh, perfect. Han's like, oh, great. Took three of them. There's only one guy left there. And so then Han, he goes back down there and he fucking pulls some high school shit on him where he goes, Papa. He just bops him on the shoulder. The guy goes, hey, wait a minute. And he fucking chases after Han, where he's then confronted by the contingent of Rebel fighters on the ground, chat. One of them being Captain Rex. So they retcon, you see the one older looking gentleman with the big beard? That's Captain Rex, chat, from Star Wars The Clone Wars, the clone character, who worked with Anakin and Ahsoka. and also in Rebels chat with Kane and Jarrus and Ezra Bridger and Harrison Dula. It's like, oh, it's cool. Because it does look like him. It does look like an older Rex. I thought that was neat. And so I was like, okay, great. So let's go ahead. Let's go inside the fucking facility and we'll start setting up shop in here. So they go inside there, Chad. They go inside there and they're like, all right, you guys are under arrest. And fucking Chewbacca just like fucking bitch slaps this one guy, just backhands him. He falls into like the reactor and just dies. And they start putting all these, trying to put these bombs up, Chad. That's what's going on. That's what they have. But then, Chad, we cut. We then, I believe at this point, yes, we then cut to the Emperor's throne room, chat. Luke and Vader in this elevator opens up, and they both walk up. But really see the Vader, the size comparison. Luke's out. He's got like 2 heads on him. It's like, Jesus Christ, David Prowse is so tall. But they walk up, and the Emperor's sitting in his fucking chair, and, he's looking at, he sees, he turns around, and he's like, young Skywalker, so good to finally meet you. Guards, leave us. And the guards just fucking leave. And Palpatine looks at the Palpatine's just doing a power play, basically. And he's like, those buttons, those cuffs, you will no longer beat them. And Palpatine just goes, look, and they fall apart. So showing that Palpatine knows the Force. And they fall apart. And Vader's like, my master, here is his lightsaber, his weapon. And he's like, yes, the lightsaber. The weapon of a Jedi. Soon you will call me master. He's like, I don't think so, man. I'm a Jedi. I ain't just like, and I know my dad, he was a Jedi too. I ain't gonna, help you. And he's like, soon you will learn that the dark side of the Force is far more powerful. Your pitiful rebellion will be destroyed. And Luke's like, your overconfidence is your undoing. And Palpatine's like, and your faith in your friends is yours. And Luke's like, what are you talking about? And it's like, well, you don't know everything, Palpatine. He's like, oh, yes, I do. It was I who leaked the location of this battle station. And I am well aware of your pitiful band on the surface moon of Endor. My best troops await them. Yeah, your best troops, huh? And I am quite aware of the fleet that is amassed near Sullust, and how they shall arrive very soon. And Luke's like, holy fucking shit, he knows everything. He knows. And he's like, yes, and I'm afraid that the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive. Vader's like, he does that. He just does that. And so he's like, all right, cool. We then cut, and a big fucking contingent of troops on Endor have shown up, and they go down to the Imperial facility, and they arrest Han. They capture Han, Leia, the droids, R2 and 3PO. The other ones are like, holy fucking shit. They're like in the back of like, oh god. So they avoid capture, but all the rebels are captured. We see all these ATST walkers just walking around and shit, and they're like, welp, this isn't good. This is really fucking bad. We then cut to Space Chat, where the rebel fleet has now entered the Endor system. The Forest Moon, the Death Star 2 is in plain view, all the fucking capital ships, and Rackball's like, engage the Death Star, the shield is down. And they all start flying towards it. But the thing is, like, Lando's looking at these readings, and, like, there's no energy signature that the shield was shut down recently. I'm not picking about anything at all. It's as if they knew we were coming. And he's like, oh, fucking shit. They knew we were coming. The deflector shields sure up. And Wedge is like, are you sure? I'm not getting readings. He's like, fucking move your asses or we're going to crash into a shield and explode. And the rebel fleet goes, they're all reversing and shit. And, Admiral Akbar's like, what's happening? And his captains and shit, Admiral, the Imperial fleet's behind us. And he's like, Admiral Akbar's like, oh, it's a trap! He said the line! It's a trap! Probably the most famous line from the movie, chap. It's not my favorite line from the movie. My favorite line is, I am a Jedi like my father before me. But that is the second most favorite line. And we see this massive Imperial fleet, chat, probably 20 regular Star Destroyers, chat, Class 2 Star Destroyers, and the Executor, chat. One of only 12, I believe, Super Star Destroyers ever created, being commanded by Admiral Piet. And they're like, whole fucking shit. And they're like, well, we got to fight them. We're like, what are we gonna do? So they're kind of caught. We don't know what to do. Do we engage the fleet? Like, what do we do? Like, it's a trap. It's literally a fucking trap. We don't know what to do. At this point, we cut back to the throne room, and Luke is just horrified because Palpatine's like, "Look, young Jedi, at your fleet," and he's looking out, and he's like, "Holy shit." As we speak, your rebel contingent will be destroyed. They will be killed, young Skywalker, and this pitiful rebellion will end. And Luke's just like, you could tell he's starting to get mad. He's getting just so fucking pissed. And Palpatine's like, "Oh, yes, you want this, don't you? Yes, I feel your anger, your hatred. Use it. Strike me down. I am defenseless. And once you do, you, like your father, will be mine." And Luke's like, he's very mad. We eventually cut down to Endor chat, where it looks like all is lost. But then the fucking teddy bears are like, you know what? They're part of the fucking tribe. Yub nub. Yub nub. And they fucking attack the Imperial army, chat. Look, using bow and arrows and rocks. And apparently they're like, oh, no, not bows and arrows and rocks, chat. Because basically a primeval civilization can easily defeat the most advanced spacefaring army in the galaxy like that. And it's just in complete fucking disarray at this point. We get just a cut. We get just a back and forth of all this crazy fucking shit. ATSTs just shooting at Ewoks, chat. We see the Ewoks using makeshift catapults trying to hit the ATSTs. Rebel fighters are fighting stormtroopers. It's chaos. Han and Leia, they're trying to fucking jury-rig the door open, trying to get them so they can blow it up so that the fleet can engage the Death Star 2 or the fleet's going to be destroyed. So they're on a fucking timetable here, chat. We got to get moving. We got to get grooving. The thing is, though, it's about to get even worse, shit. Fucking Ewoks dying. There's a scene of this Ewok, these two Ewoks, like running, and this ATST just fires down at him, and it kills this one Ewok. The other one, like, has got a little fucked up, but he's okay. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. He's like telling his little, like, to his buddy, like, let's get going. But his buddy's dead, and he's just, and it's so sad it breaks your goddamn heart. It's like, oh, I felt that. I do. I'm sorry. Like the Ewoks, like it's like take the bad with the good, chat. There's something like the fact that they're just there to sell toys, but they do some really heartfelt things with them that I like. It's like it's a mixed bag. They're not awful. It's a mixed bag of the Ewoks. That's what I'll say with the Ewoks. Eventually come to the Rebel fleet, and they're like, we don't know what the fuck we're gonna be doing. And Palpatine is like, oh, young Jedi. And Luke's like, what now? He's like, yeah, so you think this Death Star isn't working? He's like, well, yeah. He's like, you'll find that this is a fully operational battle station. Fire when ready, Commander. And they're like, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. And they charge up the Death Star laser shot. Ba-boom! And they blow up one of the capital ships, shot one of the Moncal crews. Everyone's like, what the fuck? And Lando's like, that thing's operational. Oh, Jesus Christ. We can't be. We're going to be sitting ducks in here. It's like Lando's like, we have to engage the fleet. That's the only thing. And he contacts Akbar, and Akbar's like, our fleet can't match 20 fucking Imperial Star Destroyers and the Executor. And Lando at this point is like, we'll last longer against them than that Death Star, and we might take a few of them with us. And they're like, fucking Admiral Akbar's like, fuck General Kairizan, you're right. Full speed of fucking ahead. They're going to engage the largest Imperial fleet in history, chat. It's like, Jesus Christ. Who's above a Palpatine impression? Thank you. Thank you, John Elfman, for the 10 biddies. I'm paraphrasing some of the lines, but no, I appreciate that. Thank you. I love Papa Palpatine. And, they engage the fucking fleet when it's just chaos going down on the planet, chat. It's just, oh boy, here we go. And Luke, we cut back to the throne room, and Luke is pissed. Luke is mad, and Emperor Palpatine is not. Oh, yes, young Skywalker, you shall lose. And like I did to your father all those years ago, I will be the only one here, and you shall serve me. do what must be done. And Luke's like, fuck you, old man. And he just force pulls the lightsaber towards him. He's like, ah! And he's going to kill Palpatine in anger, which Palpatine wants. And Vader's like, you don't touch my man. You don't touch my wrinkly old 110-year-old man. And Vader activates it. And I love this shot of Vader defending the Emperor. And Palpatine's like, I know what Vader's gonna do. He's my fucking dog. Vader's my dog. He's on a leash. And, you know, like, I love the shot of, like, Luke's lightsaber about to come down and just slicing the Palpatine, and Vader just blocks him. We get this great shot of the crisscross Palpatine just going, and we get my second favorite lightsaber battle in the entire trilogy, Chad. My favorite is still Empire between Luke and Vader. I love that in Cloud City. It's beautiful. This is my second favorite. I love the choreography. I love the dialogue that's just going back and forth between all three of these figures. This is some of my favorite Star Wars here, like across the saga, in the books. I just love the dynamic between each of these three characters. It's great. It's great. It's this pull and tug for Darth Vader, chat. Palpatine, like, I've manipulated you for 25 fucking years, you robot son of a bitch. You're mine. And Luke saying, there is good in you, Anakin. I love that. Luke, the boss, think of the 4 beasts. Or I know I'm thinking of the 10 beasts. Oh, and Luke, think of the war. I know I missed, but Leia, pretty freaky. Leia, you're my sister. Somehow I've always known. No, that was the line. I forgot that. I think I blocked that out. He's like, that doesn't work. But Vader and Luke are going back and forth, and Vader's like, oh, fuck, shit, he got better. Even though it's only been a year, Chad, like, Luke trained his fucking ass off, and he's a far more competent duelist than he was back on Cloud City, Chad, and he fucking kicks Vader down some fucking stairs, and Vader's like, ah, and shit. And Emperor Palpatine's like, good, use your anger, fight, and you will both be mine. And Luke's like, I ain't never gonna fucking serve you. Anger and hate are not the Jedi way. And he shuts off his lightsaber, and Luke looks down at his father. He's like, I won't fight you, father. I won't. And Vader just climbs up those stairs, Chad. He's just like, it's foolish to lower your defense. And he slices him. Luke turns his lightsaber back on. They're fucking dueling again. And then Luke, he starts jumping, and he does a fucking backflip, Chad, and he lands up on this, like, pedestal on these rafters, and he's like, it's over, father. I have the high ground. Luke's like, you listen here, you little shit. I ain't falling for that this time. And Vader just, like, is like, you underestimate the power of the dark side. He's like, I won't fight your father. And he's like, then, I'd rather die than accept your destiny. And he throws the fucking lightsaber up there, Chad. And it cuts in, Luke falls down, and he falls into, like, the bowels of the throne room. And Palpatine gets up on his fucking throne and is like, woo! Good. Good. Like, he's enjoying himself, chat. He's having a great goddamn time with everything that's happening. Eventually, we cut back down to, Endor at this point, chat. We're going back, and this is so great. We're cutting back and forth between this incredible lightsaber duel between Vader and Luke, and Palpatine egging them on. And we cut between the space battle above Endor, the Death Star firing at random ships, and the Rebels like firing at Star Destroyers and getting engaged in battles that, like, the TIE Interceptors and TIE Fighters and stuff. And we're also cutting back to the Battle of Endor. Like, all this happening at the same time, and it's so good. Like, again, the editing here is, it's perfect. You know exactly what's happening. You're not confused. And I'm just loving it. Eventually, we cut down to, but we are back on Endor, and even though the Empire was definitely an advantage, the battle is starting to turn towards the Rebels, because Chewbacca, and along with a couple of Ewoks, they eventually get on top of an AT-ST. Well, Chewie goes, oh, pulls a whole Tarzan thing, and they commandeer an AT-ST while the Ewoks just eat and stab to death these two AT-ST pilots. And since the Rebels have this Scout Walker, they start firing at the other AT-STs, taking them all out, giving the Ewoks and the Rebel fighters a fighting chance. Ewoks get an advantage. They start using some of their traps, chat, like the double logs. Boom! They come together and they smash his AT-ST's head. The Ewoks, like, get this one, and like a bit of like a ravine. And they unleash all these logs, and it trips over itself, and it falls over and explodes. And you know, like they're like, okay, and they're separated the stormtroopers, so they're all cut off from each other, and they start like just beating them to death with rocks and bows and arrows and shit. Silver Streak, thank you so much. A full year subscribed. Thank you, Silver Streak. Thank you, thank you. 1 year in the beautiful channel. Yes, I'm blessed to know your kind soul. Thank you. Thank you for existing and making life so fun with the community. Love you all a long time. Love you all a long time. Oh, and incoming. What? Oh, incoming. Oh, I'm coming in. I'm going in. Thank you, Silver Streak. Cheers and salute to you. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather. You shake the pillows having as we speak. Thank you for being here. Witness me. Silver Streak, thank you so much for the raid chat. Please do check out Silver Streak's channel. Give her some support. She is such, and speaking of kind souls, she's a kind soul. Follow her, subscribe to her. Donate to her, check in them bits. Thank you. Host her. Appreciate that. Welcome, everyone. Mario, Brain, good to see you. Thank you. Silver Streak Raid. Cheers. Cheers. Jason from the Biddy. I'm currently in the middle of my review. My scene by scene by scene. By scene breakdown for Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi. Nearly at 3 hours. It's been a long one. It's been so much fun. Joshua, my sweet baby boy, Joshua, my broccoli boy, Joshua. Thank you so much, Silver Streak. Absolute pleasure to have you guys here. Hope you're all doing very well. But we're almost at the end of the movie. We're getting close. We're getting close to the end. And so, but now the tide is turned on Endor. We then cut to the bunker where Han and Leia. Oh, how have you been? I've been trying to rate smaller streamers, and since you're a Hakmani now, you get less of my raids and my super. Oh no. No apologies necessary, Silver Streak. Not at all. No, that's what you should do. Expand the community, bring so many other people in and share and bask in other people's communities. No, I'm doing very well. I recently moved to a new apartment. And it's been great. It's so much better than my old one. I'm emotionally, physically, mentally feeling so much better. Yeah, the situation couldn't be better. Creating content I'm passionate about. I'm so excited. The streams have been excellent. I was able to stream earlier in August for about 2 weeks. Only maybe a couple days between those 2 weeks. But overall, it's been great. Yeah, I've been having so much fun. Having so much fun. It's such a pleasure to be able to do this for a living. And thank you. That's a great place to be. Thank you, Silver Streak. It is. Like, again, just be like, I'm just happy. I'm just happy. And you guys are the big reason for it. People like Silver Streak, people like you are the reason for it, which is great. Thunderlee, hi, Thunderlee. Welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Currently in the middle of my review for Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. But we are back on Endor chat, and we're currently at the bunker where Han and Leia are trying to get in. And at this point, like, Han's, okay, we got to get someone. R2, get over here. 3PO, R2, get your ass over here. And they're like, shit, fuck, okay. And they got to avoid blaster fire. And like, R2, put your metal phallus inside this door, okay, and get it open. R2's like, stand back, everybody, I got this. He goes, whoop. The thing is, though, Chad, Stormtrooper fucking fires at him, and boom, he's shot back. He's like, and he freaks out. And he was like, oh, no, my husband, what's wrong? He's like, I'm okay, baby, I'm okay. I just need a break. He's like, he can't do it. And Han's like, oh, Jesus, maybe I can like fucking jury rig it or something. And he goes up there and he's trying to like do it. And he's like, I got it. And the fucking doors, it just creates like these even bigger fucking doors close. He's like, all right, I don't got it. Hold on. But while this is happening, Leia gets shot by a stray blaster bolt from a stormtrooper. She's like, oh, and Han's like, oh, fucking shit. Oh, God. And he's like, are you okay? It's okay. She's okay. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And suddenly they're surrounded by stormtroopers. They're like, hey, you freeze. And Leia, she shows Han that she has a blaster. And she's like, you go ahead and back away, and I'll blast him. And Han's like, I love you. And Leia's like, I know. He's like, ooh, that's hot. And then he fucking backs away and boom, 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 and she blasts all these sons of bitches. She takes down each and every one of them. Badass. And like, we fucking did it. Hell yeah. But then ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. This ATST comes over and just like lowers it, puts the guns at the wall, at the door. And they're like, oh, fucking shit. Oh, God. But then the top pops open. It's Chewie. It's Chewbacca. It's like, Chewie. Oh, my God. How'd you get a hold of that thing? It's like, I did a Tarzan. Cool. Hey, get down here. She's injured. We got to get this door open. It's like, great. We then cut to, where are we now? Yes. Oh, yes. We then cut to the duel. We cut back to Luke and Vader. And Vader at this point is looking for Luke. Luke is hiding in the shadows under the bowels of Emperor Palpatine's throne room. And he's like, you cannot hide forever, Luke, my son. And he's like, I won't fight your father. And he's like, you don't know the power of the dark side of the Force. And Luke's like, he's just staying quiet. Your thoughts betray you. Your concern for your friends and your sister. You have a twin sister. Your thoughts betray her too. Obi-Wan was wise to hide her from me, but his failure is now complete. If you will not join me, then perhaps she will. And this sets Luke off. That's his fucking trigger. And he's like, no! And he's like, it's a good no. People like, he says no, but it's like, holy shit, he sells it. No! And Vader's like, and then we get, and this piece of music here is so underrated, which I don't know what it, I don't even know what it's called. But it's this piece of music where I can only imagine it as just I know what it's called. It's called a Jedi's Rage. It's called a Jedi's Rage. And it's my favorite part of the duel where Luke has complete advantage over Vader because he's using anger, he's using hate. And he just goes on in. This fucking beautiful music's playing, and he's slicing and this. And Vader's like, fucking oh, Jesus. He's freaking out at this point. Luke can't be stopped. Luke is just using everything he has against Vader. And Palpatine's like, this is fucking cool. He's loving it. He's loving it. He's watching all this. And eventually they're backing up and the camera work is great. The blocking is beautiful. We do this overhead shot where Vader's like, fuck, oh shit. And he trips over his own big stupid robot feet. And he's like, oh, he's trying to defend himself. And Luke just, and until he just hits Vader's hand and boom, slices his right hand. Now Vader goes, ah. And Luke's like, and Palpatine's like, Good, my young apprentice. And Vader's like, please, baby. Please, it's so fucking, no more. Papa wants no more. Because this is one of John Wayne's best cues. He has a lot of best. He does. He fucking knocks out the goddamn park. Your hair so long, I know. It's been a beat. I've been growing it out for a Halloween costume this, coming up this October. But, during this whole sequence, like, Palpatine's like, good. And it's like, oh, shit. I was like, I saw this not too long ago, chat. You know, in watching Revenge of the Sith, he's doing the same fucking thing here. Because he's just like, now, young Skywalker, strike down your father and take his place. Strike down your father and take his place on my side. He's like, kill fucking him. I'm done with him. He's a stupid cyborg man who has a burnt off penis. I don't need him anymore. You're much cooler. And Luke is, and he does the same thing with Dooku. Remember in like Revenge of the Sith chat where he's just very good, Anakin, good. Now kill him. It's like, oh, he's done this. He's done this for every apprentice he's ever had. Which I think is hilarious. And Luke is like, ugh. He looks at Vader and he sees Vader's, his severed hand, like his severed stump, and it's all robotics and shit and wires. And he looks at his own. He's like, no, I ain't gonna become that. And he's like, no. He throws his lightsaber away. I won't kill my father. And he's like, you've lost, Your Highness. I'm a Jedi. Like my father before me. And that's my favorite line of the movie. I'm like, so goddamn good. I love it. I mean, it's a trap. It's great. That's my second favorite. But no, I am a Jedi like my father before me. And Palpatine's like, all right, you little shit. He's like, so be it, Jedi. And he says it with such fucking resentment. Eventually, we cut outside. Where the rebels are still fighting like in space, and it's just fucking destruction, chat. Like it's pretty goddamn rough. going outside. I mean, they're fighting against, they're destroying a couple of Star Destroyers, but the Rebel fleet is losing. But we do cut back down to Endor, where now they're finally inside the bunker. Oh, that's the thing. They bamboozle the Imperial troops. And so Han, he gets inside an AT-ST, and he communicates to the bunker, and he's like, the rebels have dispersed, and they've gone into the woods and shit. We need more men, though, to find them. And they're like, oh, great, yeah, we'll send some more men in a bit. And so they open up the bunker, and they all run out, and they're all fucking captured. The Ewoks are like, we will eat you. We will fucking eat you. And they're like, ah, shit. And so then Han, Leia and everybody else, they go in there, and they put in these fucking bombs and shit, and they click them up, and then they run out like, move. And they blow up the fucking base, chat. They blow up that goddamn base. It's like, okay, perfect. They blew that up. The generator's down. Now the fleet can finally engage the Death Star 2. But meanwhile, chat, we cut back to Papa Palpatine, and he just starts Sith Light. We see the debut, chat. It's the first time we see the debut of Sith Lightning. He just starts. It looks like holy fucking shit as Palpatine's shooting lightning out of his fingertips. He's like, oh, and all this shit. He's like, foolish boy. Only now do you see the power of the dark side of the Force. And he's like, and shit. And Vader gets up. He's like, like Vader's breath is like weakened because he's like, he's like, I've never moved that much since like Mustafar, Christ. He's like, and shit. And it's like, and then like Palpatine's like still torturing Luke and everything. And like Luke is like he's like begging, Father, please help. And I love it because it's just Luke calling out to his dad. He's calling out to his father, and it's so beautiful to me. Thank you, Luke the Boss, for the 4 base. I'll read your comment in a bit. Thank you. But I just love that he's scared and he's in so much pain, and he's calling out to his dad. And Vader, for like the first time, is like, oh my God, that's my son. Like he really sees it. And I'm like, but again, it's like there's no dialogue here. It's just David Prowse's physical performance in the suit that sells, and you see it like reflected in his helmet and things like the lightning. And Palpatine stops, and he's like, and now, young Skywalker, you will die. And he keeps shocking him. He's like, oh. And then Vader, he's like, he looks at his son, and he looks at Palpatine, and he looks at his son, and he looks at Palpatine. He's like, fuck this. And he grabs Palpatine. Palpatine's like, what the fuck are you doing? Ah! And he's like, ah! And Vader's like, fuck you, old man. And he walks all the way to the edge. Just like, as Palpatine is just, his Sith lightning is going into Vader and shit. He's like, put me down. And he's like, ah! And Palpatine's like, ah! And he falls into the reactor of the Death Star, chat, and explodes and dies. Now you take it with the Benny. Oh, it's a great scene. I love it. Now. It's brilliant. Like in the original special edition, it's great. Original special edition, it's fine. It's untouched. But then in the 2004, I forget it was in 2004. It was most recently. I don't remember. But they kind of they ruined it a little bit. Where they had James Earl Jones come back in and do the whole no, and it's like, you ruined it. It's so perfect with him not saying anything. You don't need dialogue because it's just all you need is. All the thing was just, Luke, Father, please help me. It's like he's just seeing his son. It was 2011. Awful inclusion. I just love the idea that Luke is like, he's a little kid right here, and he's calling out for his dad. And Vader's like, holy fucking shit, he's my son. And he kills Emperor Palpatine. Vader collapses and shit, and Luke sees this. He sees what his father does, and Luke just holds Vader. He just holds him in his arms. And it's like, oh, so McClunky. That one's fine. I'll read your comment now, Luke the Boss. You know, if not for this whole thing of the Emperor wanting to be stuck down, makes a little sense. I mean, he wants to turn to the dark side, but it's apparent for the movie he wants to rule the galaxy over everything else. So selling for a symbiotic relationship, the continuation of the Sith, doesn't feel like his character, and this is before you would basically affirm he wanted to hold power forever and just keep changing it. True. You're not wrong. I mean, they add so much more exposition later on to these series. It's like, to these movies. It's like, it works. It works for the scene itself. It's great. And I love it. I love that fucking shit. What we got. Eventually, we cut to the Rebel Starfighters. We got the Rebel Starfighters, and they're like, all right, we fucking did it. Let's go. Like, General Lando's like, okay, the shield is down. They fucking did it. Han, old buddy, hell yeah. Let's go inside there. So General Lando Calrissian, Captain Wedge Antilles, they fly into the Death Star's 2 innards, being pursued by a shit ton of TIE fighters, chat, because they got to go ahead and blow up the fucking core. Meanwhile, Admiral Akbar and the remaining Rebel fleet are engaging the Star Destroyers, trying to keep them off the other starships going inside the Death Star 2. At this point, like Admiral Akbar says, aim for the shield generators on the Executor, because that thing is tearing our asses up. And they fire on them, and they destroy the generators, the shield generators of the Executor. And Admiral Piet's like, fucking shit, we've lost our forward deflector shields. And, you know, we cut outside, and there's this A-Wing pilot just got shot by this TIE fighter, and he's spinning. He's like, fuck it, kamikaze, baby. And this guy, Admiral Piet, he's like, what is it? It's like, this fucking ship is coming right at us. He's like, pull up the fucking house. Too late. And then Piet, this A-Wing goes right into the command center. They all get sucked out and they all die as the Executor falls down into the Death Star itself. Everyone's like, yay! It's like, cool. I loved it. After that, we then cut to Luke and Vader, who are in the Death Star, which is falling apart at this point. Everything's like shaky. People were just like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. We are evacuating. This is not good. A giant fucking capital ship just hit the Death Star. Already it's unstable at this point. And so they're getting out. I love it because no Imperial's helping. Vader's like, yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck you, Vader. And Luke is literally struggling to carry his father to an Imperial shuttle. Like, Vader just falls down, and Luke, like, has to drag him via his hands like this until he finally puts him on the ramp of this Imperial shuttle. And Vader is just, and he's like, Luke, take this mask off me. And Luke's like, but you'll die. He's like, I have rights. And he's like, but you'll die. He's like, that's inevitable. That there's nothing stopping that now. And I want to see you with my own eyes. And we get a great reveal here where Luke starts to take apart Vader's helmet. He moves the back portion, the top portion right there, and shit. And then he peels off this other. We see all this technical wire and shit. We see the back of Vader's head looking all gnarly and fucking gross. And then he peels it back, and it just feels like that's that kind of, like it's like this hasn't been pulled off in a long time, or just feels that way. And what we see, chat, you know, Darth Vader, this genocidal maniac, this horrifying figure throughout all of Star Wars and all of fiction, and underneath that mask is a dying old man. And I love that. A dying, just like scarred, scared old man. And Vader just looks at Luke. He's like, "Now go, my son. Leave me." And he's like crying. And Luke's like, "No, I'll take you back. I can save you." And at this point, like, there's no way. Like, you ain't saving shit. Vader's gonna go to jail. He's gonna go to jail forever, or he's gonna be executed. There's no like, oh yeah, you went back to the light, you're good. No, it's like, no, you're going to jail. We're putting you on trial for war crimes. And Vader, I think this is who is this? This actor who plays Vader underneath the helmet. Let me give some respect to this man. Oh shit. Oh God, help me out here, chat. Sebastian Shaw. Sebastian Shaw is the actor who plays a Vader, Anakin Skywalker, if you will. And he does a great job. I love these last lines. And he's like, "I can save you." And he's like, "You already have, Luke. Tell your sister you already have." And he smiles at Luke, and he goes, and he's like, "Father." And he dies, and he's fucking dead. That's the death of Vader, Chad. He fucking suffocates. It's like, holy shit. And Luke's in this dun, dun. And we see a sad version of Vader's theme, or the Imperial March, is like a dun, 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 which is brilliant. After that, we cut outside. and where we're seeing the TIE fighters continue to pursue Lando and Wedge Antilles and other X-wings throughout the innards of the Death Star, and it's getting tighter and tighter. The fucking dish in the Millennium Falcon gets knocked off, and it's like, oh shit. At this point, they're like, we got too many ties on us. Split up. We'll go get back to the outside so we can destroy this fucking generator. And they go boom, and Wedge and Lando, they end up in this giant fucking, which we assume is what the original generator room looked like in the first Death Star. But here's what it looks like. So they shot it down into the fucking. The hole. I forget what the fuck it's called, but the emergency induction port that in the trench run when they fire that down in there and they destroy it. This is what it must have looked like and how it blew up. But they're in there and they start shooting at the big glowy bit. It looks like it's made out of glass or something. It just like goes. Bah! It shatters like glass and it must be just a reaction. It goes. Pow! And this huge reaction goes off. It's like, we got to get the fuck out of here. Strangers, you have a great evening. Thank you so much for the stream. And they go out of there and they're trying to rushing. TIE fighters are burning up behind them. Chat Wedge, the X-wing is faster than the Millennium Falcon. He gets out of there. He's going over towards the fleet. But the Millennium Falcon is being surrounded by flames, chat. And at the last minute, boom, it gets out of there. Meanwhile, we also cut to Luke and on the Imperial shuttle with Vader's body. He gets out of there, Imperial shuttle, right before the Death Star explodes. And then Lando shoots it. He goes, yeah! And I'm going, He's enjoying himself, chat, as the Death Star explodes. Death Star 2 done, baby. It's gone. We then cut down, and Admiral Akbar's like, oh, thank fucking Christ. Thank God. Everyone's like, yeah, everyone's happy and shit. We then cut down to the surface of Endor, the forest moon of Endor, where the Ewoks are going, yub, nub, utatawa. Everyone's happy and shit. And, Leia's looking up, and Han's like, hey, listen, I'm sure Luke wasn't up there when it blew. And she's like, I know he wasn't. I can sense it. And he's like, okay. And he's like, so you and Luke, are you, what's the deal between you? She's like, well, I love him. And he goes, okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, I won't come between you. I get it. And she goes, no, not in that way. He's my brother. And Han's like, huh? She's like, come here, you. And he just kisses him. And he's like, you kissed your brother? She's like, I know, Game of Thrones shit. And then Wicket comes over there. He's like, I'm adorable. Buy me. I'm your new son. I'm your son. You're going to want me more than Kylo Ren. And they're like, yay, yay. And eventually, like, everyone's celebrating and shit. And then we cut up, and there's like fucking... It's so good. And then we transition to Endor at night. It's Endor at night, and we hear the the Force theme, Luke's theme, as he's coming with he has a torch in hand. And he goes to this pyre, chat, where Vader's body is on this pyre, and he burns his body, and he's by himself. Like, no one's going there for the funeral of Darth Vader. But we see as Luke just watches as his father's body in the suit he burns away. He finally leaves this realm, chat. And then we cut up, and we see all these fireworks going off. And I like this in the special edition. They showed, like, the rest of the galaxy, how it was celebrating the defeat of the Empire at Endor and the death of the Emperor. Like, everyone's fucking like, woo, this is great. Like, Cloud City's losing its little Cloud City's partying, chat, because they were under Imperial occupation. Tatooine's having a great goddamn time, chat. Fucking Naboo, we so free. We hear Jar Jar going, we so free. He's all excited and shit. We also go to Coruscant. The Imperial capitals are knocking down statues of Palpatine. It's like, yeah. And then we hear in the original film, we hear yub nub utatawa ito yub nub, which not a great song. Not a good way to end it on. I really love this new music they used here. That ba da 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 ba da 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 da. I like that a lot more. As eventually everyone's fucking partying, everyone's dancing with Ewoks. Admiral Akbar's dancing. Lando's there. Everyone's like, everyone's having a great fucking time dancing with Ewoks. Eventually, Luke comes in there, he hugs Han, shakes hand. I don't really know you very well, Lando. I'll shake your hand. And he hugs Leia and shit. Oh, everyone's having a great fucking C-3PO's doing the robot like this. R2 is like, we're gonna get married. It's gonna be great. You're my husband. And he's like, yes. And R2 and C-3PO are just kissing and fucking. It's beautiful. But we then cut to Luke, who then goes off to the side, chat, because he sees some other guests no one else can see. And we see Obi-Wan Kenobi, chat, and Yoda looking at Luke and going, you fucking did it, kid. You fucking did it. You proved us wrong. And oh, look at this. Oh, look who's showing up. Look at you, little youngling killer. And we see Anakin Skywalker, Chet, originally played by Sebastian Shaw, which made sense. That's what he looks like now. He went back to the dark side, or went from the dark side to the light. But for whatever reason, the special in the 2004 release, I think, or whatever it was, they changed him to Anakin Skywalker, like young Hayden Christensen Anakin Skywalker, which makes no fucking sense to me because he went back to the light when he was an old man. But whatever. But I like the original one. It's Sebastian Shaw, like in the Jedi robes, and even though I guess one good deed, saving your son and defeating. I mean, you did balance the Force, Vader. You did destroy the Sith by joining them, but then destroying them. You killed the Emperor and you died. So it's like, yeah, they're wiped out. There it is. And so that wipes out the billions of lives you've destroyed and murdered for 25 years. Okay. And those younglings must be going like, this motherfucker. I would be pissed. I would be so goddamn pissed. I'd be like, fuck this guy. But he gets to be a Force ghost and shit. He's hanging out, and Luke's watching, and he's happy, and he goes back to the party, and we hear the da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then the Star Wars fanfare, Chad, the end of the original trilogy, Chad, the end of Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. As I said before, the movie suffers from a few problems. The Ewoks, very much there just to sell toys, sometimes used well, sometimes not. It's a mix. I'm very much of a mixed bag opinion of the Ewoks. I don't hate them like a lot of people do. I don't love them like other people do. I'm kind of in between. It's like, yeah, these should have been Wookiees. It makes more sense narratively, no doubt about it. But they do some fun things with them. One of the big gripes I have is like Lando's underused, and that was a damn shame. They should have used Billy Dee Williams more. That kind of sticks in my craw. But overall, in those things, like other than those, those two, I really enjoyed this movie. It's super fun. It's very well directed. Richard Marquand, despite Lucas breathing over his fucking neck the entire time, does a really great job, in my opinion. Balanced a lot of things. Another thing is, Han Solo, I think, is a little underused. He's a little goofier in this. It's like he's kind of incompetent to a degree. Not bad, but, I felt like Han is much better in A New Hope and Empire. Here he's fine. He's good. He does his job. Like, Luke is very much the focus of this movie. And Leia. But yeah, overall, the action, how it's edited, that last third of the movie is brilliant to me. The cuts between the throne room battle, the space battle, and Endor, all that, and how you never confuse. Very well done. Love the makeup. Love Jabba's palace. Oh, that's great. So in the end, Chad, I would give this is the very on the DT scale, on the double toasted scale. This to me is the definition of a full price, Chad. It's a full price for me. Really enjoyed this movie, Chad. Full price for me. Like yours, fuck the police. Fair enough. Dark Side ages you fast. It did. It aged him really fast. Those deserts, Tatooine winds will. If everyone's asleep in this movie, I don't think he's asleep, but he's not as motivated, I would say, in this movie. I agree with that. Yay! But I hope you enjoyed this review, Chad. It was a long one. I told you it'd be a long one, Chad, and I delivered a long, epic-sized Star Wars review. Was that 2.5 hours about 2.5 hours? Not bad. Longer than the actual movie, Chad. Longer than the actual film. What's this? What you got, Koki? What's this? I'm going to hit you for the... Oh, I've seen this one before. I've seen you do this one. I'll showcase this. No, this is brilliant. Jason the Biddy for me, the Lopez voice. If I I watch it, rewatching. Yeah. No, I get that. I respect that. I see that. Hello, Peter. Ba 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 ba. You did this one a while ago, right? Thank you, Don. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was very fun for me to talk about. I knew this would be fun. Yeah, this is good. It's perfect. Oh, that's really good. It matches. Oh, my Lord. Excellent. Woo-wee. Well, Chad, I'm going to leave you on that image right there for now because I am going to go ahead and refill my beverage. I'm a thirsty boy. And then when I come back, Chad, I'm going to be playing some of that Aliens Fireteam Elite. So please stick around, chat. I shall return. Be right back.